Loki Trickster is first to the stream. Cleric Like a Cat is third to the stream.
Good day, everyone. Welcome back to the stream. How's everyone doing?
Cleric Like a Cat is second to the stream.
Second and third, not bad, not bad. And Loki, congratulations on being first. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Glad to see you here. Hope everyone had an absolutely fantastic weekend. Yeah, it's kind of crazy that the weekend is already over. Already over and gone. Crazy how time flies. But it is good to be good to be back. Good to be back. And yeah. So if anyone had any fun or exciting stories, would absolutely love to hear about them. Yeah. So let's see here. I'm trying to make sure that we are good to go. I'm potentially running a little bit slightly behind. I didn't realize how much time was passing, and I ran down to get some water, or I guess ran up to get some water, and then I realized I still needed to get stuff ready for the stream. So if I'm a lot of sorts, I apologize. But let's see here. Constantine of Rome says, hi, hello, welcome, glad to see you here. And I've been working on World Forge still. Well, I mean, hey, it's a good time. It sounds like a good time. Sounds like a good time. I hope you're having fun with it. I hope so. Oh man, okay, let's see. Okay, so we got the chat. Chat's good to go. We're all signed in there. So I'm like, I usually have everything pulled up with more than enough time, so I have time to like make sure we're good to go. But again, like I said, I completely lost track of time. Did not realize how far behind I was. Hold up. Nope. Stuff, last minute stuff set up. Okay. Oof. All right. Well, yes, welcome back. Welcome back. Let's see. It's kind of like a world box with every single era of history. I was gonna say I have never actually played it, but I have heard of it. But it's a good time though. I made it for myself. Oh, well then maybe I haven't heard of it. What is the one? Kind of like world box with maybe I was thinking of world box. Maybe. That is super cool. I like that. I like it. All right, so if you remember from last stream, we were working on getting some. I don't know. I need to get the alerts set up for the streaks. I feel like either I had them set up and they're not working, or I just never set them up. But anyway, Scoiled is on a 45 stream streak. Well, Scoiled, that is absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for streaking here in the stream for 45 streams in a row. I do appreciate it. Remember, everybody, if you streak anywhere, make sure to streak here in the stream. So I do appreciate it. And Scoiled says, hello, still curing. Well, glad to see you here. Glad to see you here, especially for the 45 stream streak. That is absolutely fantastic. I do love it. I do love that. Yes, so if you remember from last stream, on the Thursday stream, we were working on, hold up, let me get this pulled up. We were working on getting a perk card added, so we still have quite the list of perk cards that we still need to add, but the one we were working on is, let me see if I can refresh it and get it pulled up, is the Ring of Security. So that is the perk card we were working on. Took a little bit longer than I was expecting. The ring itself took way longer to draw than I was expecting, and then even on top of that, it just took so long. We got to figure out exactly what we were going to do with the actual buff and debuff, but I think we finally got to figure it out, because I want to say at the end of last stream we were kind of chatting about maybe having it affect the blackjack, so basically making it so that your blackjack, so normally the blackjack gives you a 2x multiplier, but basically making it so that the blackjack, instead of doing a 2x multiplier, would just be regular damage, no buff there. But I was like, I don't know, I was thinking about it and I was like, I don't know if that's what I want to do. So I was going over and I had an idea like literally 30 minutes before I went live. So basically, the way that it's going to work is, unless of course someone's like, no, this sounds absolutely terrible. So yes, so basically the buff for this perk card is your draw a hand value of up to 22 without busting. So that's still the same. So you can draw up to 22 now instead of the 21 by default. But all ties are automatically won by the enemy. So normally when you get a tie, so like, you know, say for example, if you draw 17 and the monster draws a 17, you would tie. And then you will then choose either evens or odds, and then you roll a d20, and then if it lands on evens, if you picked evens, then you win. Or if it lands on odds, even though you picked evens, then the monster wins, and then they get to attack you. But with this, the debuff would be that anytime you do tie, then the monster will just automatically win that. So I feel like that was a good trade-off. For being allowed to draw up to a 22, you would then just now lose any draws, which I feel like doesn't happen too often. I hope it should be fine, because the thing is, I'm like, I don't want the blackjacks to ever feel like they're just sad. So I'm like, I don't want to really like negatively affect them unless it's something really good. Because like, don't get me wrong, being able to draw up to a 22 is absolutely fantastic. But I feel like drawing up to 22 was not quite enough of a buff to kind of be enough to be like, yeah, it's enough. But I do feel like just making it so any ties are automatically won by monsters, I feel like that one is a little bit better. So I did kind of think about maybe making it so that the ties would just actually do nothing. So instead of just rolling your dice at all, it would just be if you got a tie, it would kind of work with like regular ties and blackjack work, which is just nothing happens. But I was like, well, if you could drop to a 22, then maybe on that rare occasion when you do tie, the monster just always wins. I felt like that was a pretty fair trade-off for being able to drop to 22. So we're going to be finishing that up tonight, and then we're going to move on and keep doing more of the perk cards, which hopefully we'll be able to get through a little bit faster than we did on the Thursday stream. So no, this sounds terrible. What sounds terrible? I'm glad for the feedback. I appreciate that, Loki. Thank you. But then your question of what sounds terrible, that one, I don't know if I can trust this feedback then. So let me know if that debuff sounds terrible.
For work. Art to disrupt that.
Absolutely, we can definitely disrupt that with the art. Absolutely. And I'm also kind of waiting until a few more people get in. Again, like I took actually, I'm gonna double check on this. Let me just double check. Have I turned off my vacation mode? I'm just gonna double check really quick. Channel. There's like a part of me that I'm like, did I forget to turn off my vacation mode when I came back from vacation the previous week? Moonwood Games schedule. Okay, all right, just making sure. I was like, I guess if I didn't turn off the vacation mode, then no one would be getting notifications, and maybe that's. I was like, maybe that's why it seems, because like it's I don't know. Not saying that it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's different than when it was before I went on vacation. Because before I went on vacation, usually by about 5 to 10 minutes in, there'd be like 15, 20 people. And so I'm like, maybe I just didn't turn off my vacation. Or the algorithm, you know, you leave for a week and the algorithm is just like, nah, whatever. So anyway, but I do appreciate you being here. So I was just like, there was a part of me that was like, wait, did I actually accidentally forget to turn that off? Because that honestly probably would have been something that I would do, is I would just be like, oh yeah, I forgot to turn off vacation mode. You said unless someone says it sounds terrible, so I figured I would say it sounds terrible. Well then, Loki, we're going back to the drawing board on this one. No more perk. Oh. Also, just before anybody notices and calls me out for it, I have disabled the anything to do like physically tonight. So the chest benders, bicep curls, and the stretching, because my left shoulder is kind of not feeling super great, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to push it by also having to do that kind of stuff. So I have disabled those. So before anybody calls me out, which I might get called out later, just know that those are turned off. Let's see, Constantine Nevron says, I mean, it's free, so others can download it, but I made it because it's what I've always wanted. I mean, that's fair. And that's the great thing, too, about game dev, is it's like, if there's a thing you've always wanted, then just go make it, and there you go. Now it exists. And yeah, and if you do make it and other people can also play it, that is a huge win as well. And I just made it even better, so it's not laggy. Ooh, nice. Did you end up trying out the card game? I have not yet.
Man into a chicken.
Neither has the chicken. The chicken nor myself has actually tried out the card game. Yeah, this past week, because so just as like a recap. So not this past week, but the week before, I was out for the entire week. And then this past week has just been kind of absolutely nuts. Like catching up at work, catching up on projects around the house and stuff like that. So like my free time this past week has not been great. But I'm really hoping that this coming week will be kind of getting a little bit back more into the usual. So I'm hoping that this week I will have a little bit more time and we'll definitely be taking a look at that card game. Also, how much will this game be on Steam? I haven't decided on an actual price yet. It's probably going to be somewhere between $5 and $10. It's kind of what I'm planning on. Originally, when I was planning this game, like way back when I first started making the game, I was planning on basically having it either be free or maybe like $1. Like that was my plan. That was because when I first started making this game, this has honestly grown into so much more than like I was ever expecting it to be. There was never going to be a perk system. There wasn't going to be an inventory of items. There weren't going to be quests. There were going to be no mini games or anything. Like basically everything you see here, minus like this here. Actually, I could show you. I mean, I know we've gone over this a couple times, but hey, might as well go over it for anybody else who is a bit newer here. Let me just pull this up really quickly. I believe it was still just called Tomb of... Ooh, okay, or it could just crash. Come on, Photoshop, get back here. There we go. Tomb of Vercilias. Yes. Let me get this pulled up. Open. Oh! Should probably actually close Tomb of Vercilias, shouldn't I? Close that. There we go. Yeah, this is what the original Tomb of Vercilias was going to look like. This was like the original, rough idea. Actually, was there another one? I feel like this was the second version. Tomb of... Here we go. This was the original. This was the original that I was going to... Yeah, this is what I originally started making when I first actually right before I started streaming. This was the idea that I originally had. So there was no blackjack, no perk card system, no items, no anything like that. It was not even D20s. It was D6s. The idea was going to be you had your hero and all of your stats were based on D6s. So you had your health that was a D6, you had defense that was a D6, and then you had a melee attack and a magic attack. And then basically the way that it worked is as you were fighting monsters, you would get one of 3 dice, so either red, green, blue, or purple. I'm sure you now recognize those dice as of now with the Pyro, Geo, Hydro, Necro. So that's kind of where they got their origin, was because it was supposed to be health, magic, or health, defense, melee, and magic. And then, yeah, so basically the idea was all of your stats were based on D6s, and then as you fought and killed monsters, you would get other D6s, and you would merge those D6s together in your inventory, and basically you would use these D6s to either heal yourself, give yourself more defense, upgrade your attack, or upgrade your magic attack. And then anytime you attacked, whether it was your melee attack or your magic attack, it would reduce this by 1. So you would either do 3 damage, but then reduce it to a 2, and then you do 2 damage, and it would reduce it to a 1, and then you would do 1 damage, and then it would just be gone. That was kind of like the I guess, item degradation, you could say. And yeah, so you basically just needed to make sure you were always keeping as many things to heal yourself and give yourself more attack, because if you ever ran out, well, you were screwed. Like you were just, it was game over, right? And so I was like, yeah, that's basically how it'll be. And then like I was just searching for ways to make it more interesting. So if I had gone with this original idea, I'm like, I probably could have had this whole thing wrapped up in less than 6 months. And it would have just been like a very basic, simple roguelite, or yeah, I guess it would be roguelite. Is roguelite when it's more like rogue? There's not actual any progression in the game. Like it's literally as soon as you die, you're dead, new character kind of a thing. Yeah. So that was kind of like the general idea. It was this. You were exploring the randomly, actually, I wanted to be randomly generated. I didn't know how I was going to do it. Yeah, you would be just exploring a randomly generated floor layout, fighting monsters, collecting the D6s, finding your way to the next floor. And as you went from floor to floor to floor to floor to floor, the monsters would get harder, you get better dice, all that fun stuff. You did have quests, but they were like very basic quests where it's like when you died, you would keep those quests and then you would create a new character. And then you would essentially, like, I don't know, you get something from them. It was not very fleshed out when I was making. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not quite sure how to make this actually more fun and exciting. So then I went on to version 2, which was very similar to version 1, as you can see, but I switched from D6s to D20s. And then I kind of adjusted how the monster stats, because the monster stats were all going to be like in this 3x3 grid. And basically anything that was in here, this is what they would use. So their magic attack would be 1, their physical attack would be 3, and then whatever health dice and defense dice they had in here, that's how much health and defense they had. And then, yeah. But I was just like, well, the player can no longer, like, the player cannot have more than 12 hit points, right? You've got 6 health and 6 defense. and that was it. So I'm like, you're very capped, very capped. So anyways, that's when I decided to go to D20s, because I was like, well, you can have more health, more defense, do more damage, all that fun stuff. So I was like, yeah, great. And then it just still didn't feel quite right, but you can definitely see the similarities here in terms of like what actually it all became. And then if we come over to, I guess it would probably still be Tomb of, there we go. So then we eventually switched over to what we have now, which even this one has gone through quite a few iterations, but then it then gets to, as soon as it loads, because there's a ton more layers on here, it then eventually does get to this. You can still see the similarities, and you can see like the progression of it, right? Where, you know, you start out with this guy, and then it switches over to this one, and then switches over to this one. So, you know, things have kind of shifted around, changed a little bit, and this is where I actually introduced the blackjack. But then from there, it is still like, it just has keep going up and up and up, more and more and more. It's like the whole blackjack system, the skill tree, the perk trees. There's gonna be a whole storyline now. Like, I didn't even really have any ideas or thoughts for the storyline when I first started. I've got the whole thing now, but it's like I didn't have a full storyline. I didn't have all the ideas of like the town and the quests. So anyway, there is my very, very long rant about why it's taking so long and why I have decided to go from it's probably going to be like a free / maybe 99-cent game to probably like $5, maybe $10, like somewhere in that range. Because yeah, it definitely has come a very long way from the very initial stages where it was supposed to be just like a very simple, like you play through it once, maybe you spend like 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes playing until you eventually either die or something happens to you, and then you start again. Yeah. So, yeah, it has changed quite a bit since then over the year. I was gonna say over the years. I guess it has been like a year and a half now, so good times, good times. Anyway, there's the answer to your question, the very, very long answer to your question, which is, yeah, probably in like the $5 to $10 range. I'm not fully decided yet, but I want to keep it like under $10, is what I'm hoping for. Because I want the barrier of entry to be as low as possible so that no one ever looks at it and goes, I'd like to play it, but I can't justify $20 on a game like this. I can't justify $15 on a game like this. I know that, you know, there's always going to be someone who's going to look at the price and be like, oh, $10, I'm not paying $10. They'd probably be like, oh, $1, I'm not paying $1. But I'm like, for the amount of time that I'm spending, plus hopefully what people will feel like they're getting, I hope that it could be justified somewhere in that $5 to $10 range. So fingers crossed, fingers crossed. That's a cool idea. I appreciate that, Constantine. Thank you, thank you. Let's see. You said unless someone says, okay, yeah, so I read that. Let's see. Are you live on YouTube also? Yes, I am also live over on YouTube. I like to multi-stream, just, you know, in case anybody has a preferred way to watch, then you're able to choose the platform you'd like. Dare you to do 20 push-ups? That's not gonna happen. Absolutely not gonna happen. $5.99 US. Potentially. I might. I don't know, it's probably gonna be somewhere in the middle there. It might be like $7.99 or something like that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I love how your workflow goes from concept to work design. And that's honestly like, it's kind of been the double-edged sword, honestly, of how I've made games. Like basically the entire time I've made games my entire life is I always want to make sure that I have a good concept done before I actually then start on the game dev process. And like, whichever way works for you is what's going to be best for you. For me personally, I want to make sure that I have, again, like that really good concept down, knowing that I can adjust things later as time goes on. But yeah, so I want to at least get it all like sketched up in Photoshop. It doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be finalized. It could, you know, when I initially first started this, the lines weren't even all straight. I literally just like went in with like a pixel brush and just like drew lines where I thought things needed to go. And then eventually I kind of like refined it over time. But yeah, so for me personally, that's how it works best for me, is just making sure that I have a good concept first, just mapped out design wise, and then I want to start getting into it. Because the thing is, like, if I start going forward with this design, what the?
Welcome Big Boy Games Official and your 20 amazing audience members.
Big Boy Games Official, thank you so much for that raid. I appreciate that. Welcome everyone. Glad to see you here. We were just chatting about what?
Follow Yoki Creplays.
Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that. We're just chatting about you know, different ways to do game dev, and you know, whether you just jump in and get started, or if you want to get some kind of rough general idea down before you start. That's in general how I like to go, is I want to get like a good concept down, make sure that I kind of have like a rough idea of like how I want the UI to look, kind of gameplay wise and stuff like that. And then, you know, as time goes on, if I have to change it, I go in and change it. And then if I'm like, this still is not working, I have to change it again, then I change it again, and eventually we get to where we are now. So, but yeah, however you make your game is the best way to go. But honestly, I like doing it this way, and it works for me. So, but I do appreciate that comment. So thank you, thank you. Also, very quickly, again, like I said, I do appreciate the raid. Thank you so very much. And if you got a raid and run, I completely understand. After a long stream, sometimes you got to jump in and then you got to jump out. I know you got things to do, sleep to get, food to eat, other things to do, whatever it may be. So yeah, so no worries if you got a raid and run, totally understandable. And yeah, but I do just appreciate the raid. And let me give you a really quick shout out here, /shout out, if I can type correctly. Shout out, there we go. At Big Boy Games Official. There we go. Everybody make sure, if you are not already, make sure to go over and give Big Boy Games Official a follow. So yeah, I do appreciate it. So thank you, thank you. But hopefully your stream went well. If you've got anything to share, would absolutely love to hear about it. So I do appreciate it. Man, I keep only making small increments on my game. Hey, one step forward is better than no steps at all. And honestly, one step forward is better than the other people who didn't take a step at all. So even the small incremental steps are better than no steps. So doesn't matter how small it is, forward is forward. And I'm very proud of anybody who does make any progress forward, even if it is like the tiniest little minuscule forward. Again, still, forward is forward. Imagine game deving. It's it would be great, wouldn't it? It would be great to game dev. I worked a lot the first couple of days, and now the code base has gotten complex enough that I have to consider a ton of other parts of the code before I change anything. Yeah. That's usually honestly where I start kind of getting to the point where I want to quit. Is as soon as I have too much in place to the point where, like, if I step away from any aspect of it for a little bit and then come back and I'm not exactly sure how it was working or why it was working the way it did, it does make it very difficult to keep going, because you're just like, I can just start fresh. Everything's gonna be nice and clean. It's gonna be beautiful. Which, you know, if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. But I can promise you this: once you get over that hurdle and that roadblock of like being kind of on that edge, it honestly does get better. It legitimately does. So if you're getting to that point right now where you're kind of like getting, you know, there's enough code in your game where you're like, I think I remember what this was doing, but I don't remember exactly what it was, and I don't want to touch it again because I don't want to break it. But like, if you can get past that, it gets so much better. I promise. That's where I was like about 9 months ago. I was like, there's so much in here already. Like, if I try to go back and change anything or adjust anything, and I don't remember exactly what it was doing, am I going to break things? Is it going to be terrible? But yeah, once you get over that, so much better. So much better. So keep going. I believe in you. I believe in you. Hoodien says, hi, Moonwood. How's the game coming along? Welcome, Hoodien. Welcome. Glad to see you here. It is coming along. Slowly but surely, it is coming along. We are still working on the perk system, getting more perks implemented into the game. So on the last stream, we were working on a new perk called the Ring of Security, which basically lets you be able to draw up to a 22 without busting. So for anybody of the new people here, I guess I have not introduced myself yet. I am Moonwood Games. So for anybody who is here in the raid, if you're here, I do appreciate it. So thank you. But yeah, so we're making a retro style dungeon crawling roguelike RPG called Tomb of Vercilias, where you are a bounty hunting adventurer delving into what is now known as the Tomb of Vercilias, here to find the dark mage Vercilias and bring him to the king, dead or alive, and getting a massive massive reward. But yeah, so it is a roguelike, and so there's a whole bunch of like little systems and mechanics to hopefully make the runs different every single time. So this is our perk card system that will make it so anytime you start the game, and then anytime as you progress throughout, you will be selecting one of 3 perk cards on every single floor. So you're in a tower, you're meant to basically clear the floor, find the exit, and then go to the next floor. And yeah, with every single floor change, you will be given one of 3 perk cards to choose from. And they have different buffs and debuffs. So the one that we're working on right now that we're going to be finishing up tonight, and then we're going to start on a new one, is this Ring of Security, which basically, yeah, again, makes it so you can draw up to a 22. So the combat in this game is based on Blackjack. So if you're familiar with Blackjack, it's basically you're playing Blackjack. If you're not familiar with Blackjack, you're playing with regular face cards. And each card, their face value is what they are worth. So like a 5 is worth 5, a 7 is worth 7. Kings, queens, and jacks are all worth 10, and then aces are either worth a 1 or 11. Depending on if it would make you go above 21. So if it would make you go above, the 11 now becomes a 1. But basically, the way that this perk will work is if you have this perk equipped, you can draw up to a 22, because the whole thing with Blackjack is you're not supposed to draw over 21 or else you lose. But with this equipped, you can draw up to a 22. but there is a negative to each one of these perk cards. There's always a positive and negative. So like this one, you gain 5% more experience, but your geo damage is reduced by 5%. With this one, it adds a 2% spike damage to yourself. So anytime you take damage, whatever attacked you will then take 2% of that damage to themselves. But it also reduces your dexterity saving throws. Like if you're trying to leave combat, you have to do a dex saving throw. It will reduce it by 10%. So So there's always a good or a bad trade. There's always a good and a bad to the perk. There's always a trade-off to the good. So with this one, all of the ties are automatically won by the enemy is kind of what I've decided what we're going to go with this Ring of Security. Yeah, so basically the idea is in the game when you're fighting the monsters, if you're familiar with Blackjack, if you ever get a tie, just nothing happens. You get your money back, you get your cards back, you lose your hand, whatever, but like nothing really happens. But in this game, if you get a tie, you will then choose if it's either going to be evens or odds, and then you roll a d20. If it lands on evens, if you picked evens, you win. If it lands on odds, you picked evens, then you lose. And the monster gets to attack you. But with this card, particular, is if you have this equipped, yes, it's great that you'll be able to draw up to a 22 without busting. But if you ever get a tie, then those ties are automatically won by the monster. There's no longer just rolling the dice. So you just kind of have to pick and choose. It's like, do I want to go with something like that, or do I want something like this? And these are required. You can't just be like, I don't want one of these. Like, you have to take one of these every single time. So there could be potentially times when you play through that you're just going to get nothing but like the bad cards, and it's going to suck. But I do want to add a system eventually to where, like, at some point in time, you'll be able to like upgrade these cards. So the idea would be you can either double the buff that it has. So this would go from a 2% spike damage to a 4% spike damage, or this one would be I don't know, I guess be able to draw up to a 23. I'll kind of have to like figure out some of them. This one would be, you gain 5 more experience. You gain 10 more experience. Or you could completely remove the negative, so the debuff to it. So you would only gain 5 more experience. So you can kind of like customize the perk cards a little bit more as time goes on when you're upgrading. So anyway, that's all later, much later. Anyway, so Ring of Security is what we're going to be working on as soon as I then get caught up on chat. So let's get caught up on chat here. At $1, let's see, at $1, either they are poor or don't like the game enough. That is true, Cameron, that is true. I say do $7.99 with a $2 mail-in rebate. There we go. I'll bring back the mail-in rebate. Now what I should do is I'll release this as shareware, and then I will have a paid version with more content. That's what we'll do. Honestly, if I could somehow get this small enough to be able to like be on floppy disks, I would 100% do like some kind of special release where like I ship it out on floppy disks. I'm not going to be able to get it that small, but it still would be cool. It still would be cool. Maybe if nothing else, I will get floppy disks and load them up with like art from the game or something. That could be kind of cool actually, and I could 100% do that. Let's see here. Hashtag giveaway coin flip. Oh, that's true. We do still need to do the coin flip. Let's see. Oh, right. My bad. Jerry. Welcome, Jerry. Welcome. Glad to see you here. Hope you had an absolutely fantastic weekend. What's up, Moon and Nights? Oh, just living life, feeling free. See, and then we got the raid from Big Boy Games Official. And hey, how's it going? It is going fantastic. I'm so sorry that I'm just now getting to your message, but I hope that your stream went well if you are still here. Big Boy Raid. Oh, it is a Big Boy Raid here. Welcome, Raiders. Yes, welcome. Glad to see you here. And let's see, you should try to describe the game in emotes. That would not go over well at all. Not at all. And emoji too. That's not... Ooh, I don't think that's going to work at all. Appreciate it. Yeah, I was working on my incremental game, lured in today. Should I drop a link? You absolutely 100% should drop a link. I would love to take a look at it. I'm sure that everybody else here would absolutely love to take a look at it as well. So yes, make sure to drop a link if you're still here. So far, I've been working on the visual aspects, rendering tiles, structures, machines, etc. Haven't wrote any of the actual mechanics yet. Oh, hey, that's totally fine. Totally fine as well. Like I said, I don't know if you read the other messages or not, so I will give you a pass. Also, hashtag giveaway. I think I have read all the messages up to this point. Okay, so I did miss the $5.99 US, or no, I think I did read that one. And then AO from TripAdvisor, and then love your workflow. Okay, yeah. So I'm pretty sure that I read all of those. But yes, absolutely, 100%. We do need to do the hashtag giveaway, and then hashtag coin flip from Axiom Myth Games. Let's see, I beat you to it. I know, right? I'm on a 1-day weekly streak and an 84 stream week. That is impressive. That is extremely impressive. We're doing weekly streaks now. Yes. Good times. And Skoiled with the absolutely gold, please. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. All right, let's see. Well, then let's get the coin flip countdown going. So let's manage predictions, and we're going to start prediction, heads or tails, coin flip, and do that. So we got 5 minutes on the clock. Make sure to get in there and make sure to throw in your points wherever you feel like you think it's going to be. It's going to be heads, maybe tails. Who knows? Who knows? We will see. Time will tell. Bevy definitely has a learning curve to it. That's what I've heard. That is what I've heard. It definitely does. I can't really speak from experience, but I've definitely heard that it does. All right, let's see. And then let's do the giveaway. So this is actually going to be for anybody who is new here. First of all, welcome. Glad to see you here. We do have a Discord server if you would like to join. I'm just going to do a little bit of this. That is not right. It's Discord, not Discrod. Discord, we do have a Discord server where feel free to join, and it's full of a lot of absolutely fantastic, amazing people. We got channels where you can share your art. We've got channels where you can share projects you're working on, all sorts of fun things. But the reason why I bring all this up, ouch, the reason why I bring all this up is because of the Game Key Giveaways channel right here. So this is more of a letting you know for next week kind of a thing, because every Sunday we do a Steam Key giveaway hosted by our absolutely fantastic Loki Trickster right here. Absolutely fantastic gentleman. Yeah, so basically, the way that this works is there will be a post here in the Discord server, in the Game Key Giveaways channel, and all you have to do is add a reaction to it. That is all you have to do. Just add any reaction you would like, and then you will be added to the Game Key Giveaways wheel right here, which I'm just going to refresh just to make sure we're fine. But yeah, so basically, your name will be added here, and then we will spin the wheel every single Sunday, and then whichever name it lands on, you will get a message from Loki with a link to a Google Drive, to a Google Sheets file, and then from there it will have every single game key that is available to be able to win. And yeah, they'll say, hey, I want this game key, and then Loki will send you the key, and you'll be able to activate it on Steam, and you will have a free Steam key. So with all of that, yeah, make sure, if you're not already, make sure to join the server. And then Loki usually posts on either like Monday or Tuesday, following the Sunday stream.
Emoji, Mage emoji, devilish face emoji, Tokyo Tower emoji, coffin emoji, soon arrow emoji, Hanafuda cards emoji, boxing glove emoji, troll emoji.
Do you feel like that pretty closely, that does pretty closely describe the game itself? That's not bad. That's not bad. Maybe I should start using that. Anyway, yeah, so if you would like to participate in next week's Steam Key giveaway, make sure to keep an eye on this channel. I think that Loki does usually at the Discord server. I think he at least either I think he ats here. So anybody who is active in the server at the time would get a notification. I think. I may be completely wrong on that. But anyway, so make sure, if you did not react to this one, make sure you jump in here either tomorrow or Tuesday. I don't think, okay, all right. Well, I think I just have my notifications turned on specifically for this channel. So if you want to make sure you never miss it, you can just turn on the notifications specifically for this channel right here, and you'll get all the notifications that get posted. And it is only Loki that posts in here. I mean, I can post too, but I haven't posted, like, I don't think ever. Maybe the first time. Nope, I've never posted this channel. So it's just Loki. So if you would like, you should be able to turn on your notifications here, and you will only get notified when Loki posts in here, which only ever has anything to do with Steam Key giveaways. So yeah, should be a good time. Anyway, with all of that said, and without further ado, did you customize the size of some Randev's spot? Oh my gosh, that is hilarious. You know what, we're gonna see if fate is just an absolutely cruel mistress. Because that would be hilarious if Cert has the smallest spot on the board and yet somehow still wins. We'll see. All right, everybody, cross your fingers if you are here on the board. That means all of you right here. If you're on this board, cross your fingers right now, because we're going to be spinning this thing and we're going to see what happens. So here we go. Cross your fingers. Who knows? It could be anybody's game at this point. Come on. What's going to happen? Oh, we got Axel. We have got Axel Benedict. Axel, congratulations. You have won a Steam Key. I feel like Axel has probably won just about as many as some Randev has. But still, absolutely fantastic. Congratulations, Axel. That is beautiful stuff. I don't know if you're here. I don't think I've seen you on stream yet. I think you're probably at work. That's probably what it is. Well, congratulations. I'm sure you're going to get a message from Loki, and you're going to be like, what the freak is going on here? And then you're going to be like, oh, that makes sense. So yeah, beautiful stuff. And yeah, very nice. Well, there you go. That is as easy as it is So yeah, fantastic stuff. I do though, just in case anybody is worried about it, if you don't want to have notifications turned on for this, I will talk about this at the start of every single stream. So if you didn't react to it, or if you don't remember to react to it tomorrow when it's posted, I will talk about it on the Tuesday stream and the Thursday stream to kind of give you a chance to be able to react. And then we will then, you'll get your name added and you could win a free Steam key. So good times there. Okay, I don't ping. I did the first time. That's true. I think I did ping the first time, but I think it kind of makes sense. It's like, just don't ping if people want to come in here and react. Great, and if not, oh well. But I know not everyone likes pings. That's true. Roll it up at Steam giveaway. Surd is small. Too bad. Poor Surd. I hope that Surd is still alive. I know that Surd was up hiking for like a week, which is absolutely bonkers. That is a lot of hiking. So I hope. Anyway, art and general. Yes, absolutely, Cameron. We'll be taking a look at art. Did I raise the probability for everyone but Surd? Maybe. That is hilarious, though, that you're able to do that. That is really funny. Like legitimately, actually hilarious. And I'm glad you did. Because it's like, if Surd's gonna react, might as well still have Surd on the board. But I know this would probably be a lot more work. But so if you're not willing to do this, totally understandable. But it would be pretty great, like, the more that someone wins, you could just set them to be less likely than everybody else who has not won. It could be interesting. But again, I know that probably would be quite a bit extra work, and so don't feel like you have to. I feel like just the people who have won many times, like Surd, maybe. That's not that hard. I know, but it's still time consuming. It's not hard, but it's tedious, and I don't want this to become a tedious thing for you. So just saying. Could be good, but I do think having Surd smaller is a good way to go. I was just clicking a plus mark. I know, but I don't know. I just don't want to be a headache for you. So anyway, but I do appreciate it. So thank you so much. And again, make sure I will remind everybody, but there will be a new post tomorrow, and so you just add a reaction, and then you'll be good. So let's jump in here to art. Okay, what have I missed? Okay, so I am up to date here. All right, Cameron. An eye that's poisonous enough said. Ooh, that is a good looking eye. That is a poisonous looking eye. I don't like that it's looking straight down at me. Kind of creepy, but I do like it. That is really cool. I also like how it looks like the lashes are all like spray painted. I don't know if that was intentional, but they look like they're spray painted. And that is super cool. I like that. Now let's see, what do we got here? Oh my goodness, she is adorable. She is absolutely adorable. Love the shoes. That is a great color for the shoes. Yeah, the green and the purple works super well. And I really like that hair. The hair looks fantastic. Yeah, beautiful stuff. I love it. Let's see. Dan says, I've been working on a player sprite for a Zelda 2 styled game lately. That is super cool looking. That is a really good looking sprite right there. I like it. I know that it's a crouch attack. But I love the idea that you could potentially, you could teabag your enemies after you kill them. That just brings me joy. I know that's not what it's designed for, but I love the idea that you could. I love the idea that you could slay a slime and then teabag the slime. Pretty great stuff. At the moment, only this single frame is fully rendered. That is really good. That is a fantastic frame right there. Yeah, beautiful stuff. Love it. I love it. Well, I'm very excited to see when all of it is said and done. But even still, just this one right here, beautiful stuff. I love it very nicely. I am always, anytime I see animation like this, I know that it's just like a couple frames and like a couple different poses, but like I look at it, I'm just like, I am so bad at doing even simple animations that I look at this and I'm just like, oh man, I like this. Like the idea, like my idea of animations, let me show you really quick. Here's how I do animations. It's very, very basic. GitHub, Tomb of Vercilias, images, pictures. We go to monster. Let's go to monster. I don't know. We'll say, for example, we'll just pick up the elemental guy. Do you want to see my method of animating? So for this one, I literally am just like flipping him. That's exciting stuff. But then I do have other ones, like if say for example, if we were to go with like say this slime, the animation here, that It's literally just me taking like this top half and moving it down a pixel, and then taking this part and moving it out a pixel, and taking this part and moving it out a pixel, and then just filling in the middle. And that's it. That is the tall and the short of that animation. And that's about all I got. Like, same with this guy. It's just the wings, I just kind of like move them out a pixel, in a pixel, out a pixel, in a pixel. Very basic stuff. Very basic stuff. But, you know, it gets the job done. And then that's all I've done. I haven't actually animated these guys yet. I think I've animated anybody else yet. Good times. Good times. Anyway, yeah. This character currently uses 24 tiles out of 256. Ooh. That is a decent chunk of tiles. But that is impressive that it's only 24 tiles to get that entire character. Not bad. Fun fact, the two arts are the same character, different forms. Okay, all right. I like it. I like it. Yeah, beautiful stuff. All right, let's see. Am I all caught up everywhere? Yeah, it's not hard. Just look at the plus. I did use a spray. Well, there we go. Yeah, you use a spray paintbrush. So that would be why it does look like that. Dan says I hadn't even considered that. I know. It's my brain goes to weird places sometimes. All right, I'm just gonna say that. So I know that it's not exactly intended as that, but yeah. Anyway. Let's see here. Okay, so over here in general, I thought that I was relatively caught up. Apparently not. Let's see. Onit. Let's see. I don't know how to pronounce that. The creator of Hidelight. Okay, I know how to pronounce that. Just released a demo for a Windows port of his latest game. Oh. Well. July 2026. That is coming up very soon. What do we got here? Oh my goodness. This looks beautiful. Okay, this is really the bees. Was that the bees? Oh my. This is okay. All right. I'm seeing what's going on here now. This is interesting. Because at first, I was very confused. I was like, why is the player only facing up? But I see now. It's basically it's a Galga shooter. But the screen isn't moving. It's like single screen, and so you have to progress yourself without the screen actually moving up. Okay, all right. That is an interesting concept. I like that. That is super cool. That is so smart. Okay, I like this. I like it. It looks really good too. Pixel art looks so good. My gosh, I'm kind of getting some potential ideas to upgrade one of my games a little bit. Maybe. And that is just so cool. I love the way that he did all that. That is super cool. I keep saying he. I know that like it's. I can't imagine that he's like a solo dev, right? There's no way that like he did this by himself. And there's a demo, free demo. I might have to give it a shot. Anyway, that is super cool. I like that. I'm glad that you shared that a few days ago that I didn't see. The original game was limited to a modern release on the NEC PC 8801. That is super cool. I like that. Thought I'd hang out in voice chat if anyone is around. Well, Nova, I'm so very sorry. I don't know if people do the voice chats very often. I'm sorry about that. When you get free delivery above $50 and you spent $49.99, no go. So close, right on the line, but still not quite there. I like that, Cameron. I like it. That is a good time. All right, everybody. All right, let's see here. So, like I was saying, we are going to be working on getting the rest of this perk card done. That is basically just making it so all ties are automatically won by it. Which I believe if we come over here to apply perk card stats. So number 8, Ring of Security. We want to turn on Ring of Security. So we're already turning on a switch, which is absolutely fantastic. Because that means all we should have to do is we come in here. Saving throw. There we go. Saving throw. And then I think all we have to do is just say conditional branch. If the switch Ring of Security is on, we just say automatically lose all ties. The coin is ready to flip, my sir. Oh my goodness, that is right. I completely forgot that we have a coin flip going on here. Holy smokes. Thank you for the reminder. Holy good heavens, I completely forgot about that. Yeah, that is my bad. Well, let me get that pulled up so we can be ready for a little bit of heads or tails. Yes, indeed, it is time for a good old-fashioned heads or tails. Again, it's going to be beautiful. Although I think I'm going to sneeze. Am I going to sneeze? Maybe. It's like right there on the edge. Right on the edge. But I think it's passing now. It's passing now. All right, everybody, you know how this goes. But if you don't, then I'm going to quickly explain it. This is not a best 2 out of 3 or best 3 out of 5. This is going to be a tug of war coin toss. So if you're participating in it and you didn't know what was going on, I apologize. That is how it goes. So anyway, yeah. So basically, whoever gets 3 points first is going to be the one that is going to be the victor. So yeah. So cross your fingers if you voted for tails. Cross your fingers if you voted for heads. And let's give this thing a flip. And let's see what happens here. Come on here. What do we got? Okay, we got one heads. One heads. There we go. Not too bad. Not too bad. Let's see what happens. Okay, now we got a tails. If this turns out like it did the first time or last time, that one was crazy. All right, we got heads. I think how many coins did we end up flipping that one? Like, I feel like it was like 20. It was crazy. Absolutely nuts. Okay, you can still see that one, but that is a tails. That is a tails. Here we go. I need to make sure that it can't roll anywhere over here in this corner here. We got another tails. Is tails gonna take it this time, or is heads gonna take it back? Here we go. Here we go. Is tails gonna never fail, or are we switching over to heads? All right, heads is going again. Heads is getting ahead again. We got a nice tie going on here. All right, we got back to tails. Back to tails. Come on, let's see what happens. Is tails gonna take it, or is heads gonna? Oh my gosh. Okay, all right, let's just keep it on the edge of our seats. That's all that's going on here. Especially if you voted for tails. Now I'm sure you are very much so on the edge of your seat. Let's see what happens. Is this going to be a heads victory, or is tails going to take it back? Here we go. Let's see what happens. Come on, come on, come on. Ooh, ooh. Okay, all right, tails is taking it back. Tails is taking it back. Not so much with heads. Heads got it again. Here we go, coming down the pike. We got tails again. What is happening? We're going back and forth so much. Here we go. Here we go. All right, back to heads. Back to heads. Let's see what happens. Is heads going to take it this time, or is tails going to take another one? Oh my gosh. We're going back to tails. Okay, all right. It's going to be fine. It's going to be great. It's going to be all right. Who's going to win this one? Oh my god. Why? Why? I know it's 50-50, but holy smokes, this is ridiculous. Okay. All right, are we going to hit 20 this time? All right, here we go. All right, I feel like tails is going to win this one. It's going to be another tails here. We got this. We got this tails. Oh! It is tails. It is tails. Absolutely fantastic. Congratulations if you voted for tails. Absolutely fantastic stuff. And look at that. We did hit 20. We hit 20 flips on that friggin' thing. 20 flips total. Holy smokes. Well, yeah, if you guessed tails, congratulations. If you voted for heads, I am so sorry for the absolute just madness that was the back and forth there. Again, like I said, it is tug of war. It is tug of war there. And as you can see there, look at that. Look at that. Tails has taken it this time. So I'm so sorry if you voted for heads, but congratulations if you voted for tails. Absolutely fantastic stuff. And yeah, good times. This has been heads or tails. As you can see, it has been heads or tails. And tails won. So yeah, good times. Good times. Well, I hope that I guess we're gonna see. Let's see what happened. Okay, so let's come over here. Let's complete the prediction. It looks like, oh my goodness, that was a pretty even 50-50 split. That is not bad. 51% on heads, 49%. I don't know what I just clicked. I did that. I think I clicked more actions and then I clicked again, so it went away. I think that's all I clicked. Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, yeah, tails, not bad. 4.7 versus 4.5. That is extremely close. That is not bad at all. All right, cool. There we go. Choose outcome. That is going to be the tails has won, and that is 9,154 channel points that are going to be split among the victors. So congratulations. Very nicely done. But if you did vote for heads, I am so sorry. But there's always next time. There's always next time in the great game of heads or tails. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. I'm guessing, Scoiled, that when you're saying, and then, ooh, I'm guessing you were going for heads, and you were getting excited when it was kind of going heads, and then it went back tails, and I'm so sorry if that's the case. Where do you go for coin toss voting? Yes, Jerry, so, I wonder if we did the voting right before you joined. So I know the voting had been over for a bit because I completely forgot about it. Yeah, so basically the way that it works, and someone may correct me if I'm wrong, because I think it shows up slightly different depending on if you're on PC or if you're on mobile or desktop. But I'm pretty sure that when the voting is going on, up at the very top of chat, there should be like a little vote button for the current prediction that's going on. So I start the prediction, and then there is 5 minutes on the clock to be able to do it. So I think if you're on mobile, it's at the bottom, and if you're on desktop, it's at the top of the chat. I could be wrong though, so if someone's on mobile and that's not the case, let me know. But I know that for mine, when I am on desktop, I see the voting at the top of my chat. So there's just like a little button that's hovering over the chat that just says, would you like to vote, essentially? And then you can vote heads or tails. So that is where that kind of stuff comes in. I'm kind of wondering if I should put like 10 minutes on the clock or something like that. Like give people a little bit more time to vote just in case, but we'll see. We'll see. Prediction on the bottom of chat on desktop, the mana icon, or mobile to the left of the chat box. Wait. The bottom of chat on desktop, I see mine at the top. That might be because I'm the host, though. Could be. My channel point live savings. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, TripAdvisor. I'm sorry. Thank you for the points, teammates. Oh, yeah. See, there we go. There is a graceful winner right there. There's a pop-up beside the channel point at the bottom on mobile or top on desktop. Oh, gotcha. But if you don't see it, see my previous message. There we go. There we go. All right, everybody. Well, absolutely fantastic stuff. Exciting times indeed. So, basically, here's what we're going to do. So, if you have the Ring of Security, if it is on, then we just automatically lose all ties. And we should be able to jump to label. Actually, do we already have a label? We might have a label already. So, load the dice images, play it out. Decrease/increase roll. Wait. This is the... That's right. Jump here if skipped. Okay, actually, no. We do not want this here. This is the... This is the actual dex saving throw. That's right. So what we want is we want over here... Tie. Here we go. Okay, tie. Want to paste that in there. So if security is on, then automatically lose all tie. So then if we come down here, so we got evens, odds, play it out. We got the perk. I think we have evens, player wins. Okay, so I think basically what we can do is we can just say monster wins. Okay. Let's just take player bust and turn that on. Just come in here, turn on player bust. Then we jump to label end. Then down here, we just jump all the way down to here. Label end. There we go. That should be good. That should be good. Okay. The Steven says, hey, hello, welcome to Steven. Glad you're here. Hope you have an absolutely fantastic weekend. So yeah, Jerry says, is this gambling the mana I already have? I hear Vercilias had a terrible gambling addiction. Yes, it is gambling the mana you do already have. But you could get more. You could get so much more. Depending on, if you win. If you lose, not so much. You know what they say? 50% of the time, tails wins every time. So you can take that to the bank. All right, let's get the Ring of Security. So we're just going to do a little bit of testing. I just want to make sure. Now this is going to take this is going to require a little bit of combat going on. But I do just want to make sure. I want to see if the 22 is still working. I mean, nothing should be broken. Okay, that's 21. We're just going to stand on 21. There we go. Okay, that's confirmed. So even if you have a match, okay, we actually got a match way faster than I was expecting. Like, I was not expecting for us to get a match on, like, literally that was the second hand, I think. So now we just need to make sure and test and see if the 21 is still working. Maybe if I do a stand on a 17. I just want to test it one more time on the tie. You know? 20, okay, all right, there we go. 18, we're gonna stand on 18. We're just gonna see what happens. 20, okay, all right. 20, all right, I'm gonna stand on a 20. 22, okay. 14 now, we'll take a hit. 20, all right. Down on 20. Okay, not bad, not bad. We'll draw again. Oh, and then there we go. There's a 22, but we did not bust because we have the Ring of Security, which lets you draw a hand value of 22 without busting, but then all ties are automatically at 1 by the enemy. So there we go. We have now tested it. So yeah, so you can draw up to 22 without busting, but if the monster ever gets the tie. But that also means, technically, if you ever get the 22, I don't think it basically just means an automatic win. Like, there's literally no chance for the monster to be able to get. So if you can get a 22, you're golden. You are good to go. No busting. Well, so basically with this perk here, so this is a new perk that we're adding. So when worn, this ring protects you from blunders while drawing cards in battle, but we're getting an even hand matchup. So basically, the good part of this card, of this perk card, is you can draw a hand value of up to 22 now. So it raises the busting limit from 21 up to 22. So that's kind of like the good part there. Then the bad part is if you ever get a tying hand with a monster, then all ties are automatically won by them. So there's kind of the trade-off there, is it's like, yes, you can now go up to a 22 without busting. Like, you have 1 extra point value you could go above, but if you ever tie the monster, then is able to get you. So yeah, it's the good and the bad right there. But yeah, absolutely fantastic stuff. So if I stand, even if he gets a 21, then I win, which is absolutely fantastic stuff. So yeah, I'm glad that's working. I'm glad that's working. And again, like, we'll kind of be testing it over time, you know, as we're going through and play testing even more stuff. And if I notice anything weird going on, well, you know, we may have to go back and make sure to adjust that. But even on the splits, actually, let me just double check this. So even on the splits, so if we take a hit, we take another hit, take another hit, take another hit, 20, okay. Kind of makes me worried, nervous. 17, 27, okay. This is way too good to pass up. I just want to, oh, this is gonna just destroy this guy. I'm gonna stand on that. That is like the greatest hand ever. Holy smokes. That was so many hits on that guy. Now I kind of feel bad for him. A little bad. Not super bad, but a little bad. Okay, there's his 21, awesome. I just realized, I'm like, there could be another perk that we could add that I haven't really thought about yet, and that would be if the monster gets a blackjack, allowing the player to continue to still attack. Like, so I can still draw more cards. Maybe. Oh, there we go. Look at that. This thing has freaking saved me twice already. 22. We're gonna stand on a 22. Because yeah, with the 22, like, he can't beat me. He just can't do it. It's glorious. It is glorious. The ties, though, the ties do suck. Because that means he automatically wins every single tie. Oh, crap. Heal myself. Oh my gosh. So I just realized there's some crazy timing mechanics in this game now. Because the inventory is still active while combat is going, I don't know how I didn't realize this. But timing will actually be critical now. Like, with the right healing potions, you could heal yourself, like, you could save yourself from just, like, absolutely catastrophic attacks. Like, if you're fighting a boss, because there is that short break in between attacks, even if the monster is, like, doing crazy amounts of damage to you, let's say, for example, if my max HP was 22, and I had a monster attacking me that was doing, like, 20 damage, if I was just holding on to a healing potion that would heal me all the way, I could literally just be hovering it over myself, and as soon as I take one hit and I drop down to like 2 health left, I can release it, heal myself before I get attacked again. And then I can heal myself again and again and again. I don't know how I like didn't put 2 and 2 together. That like actually creates for some kind of potentially cool timing mechanics in combat, where as long as you're fast enough, you could save yourself because the whole inventory system is completely active while combat is going. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. This is just a thought here, and let me know how you feel about this. I like it. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, let me know how you feel about this new potential mechanic, because that one's not even necessarily technically a new mechanic. That's just something like I never really thought about it. But the fact that like while the combat is actively going, you can still interact with your stuff. You can still be doing stuff here. So here's what I'm kind of thinking. And let me know if you feel like this might be just like a little too OP, or if it just doesn't sound fun, or whatever the case may be. How would everybody feel about making these dice actually be usable on monsters? So basically, while in combat, if you were to drag and drop like a pyro 1 on the monster, it would just do 1 pyro damage. So like obviously you want to hold on to these dice, right? Like you want to use them to be able to upgrade your spells, because as your spells get upgraded, you are doing more damage every single time. But if you're in a pinch and you just needed to be able to do just a little bit more damage to a monster, you could hold on to a few either just like low-level dice to be like, oh, the dude's got 1 health left, let me just do this instead of risking getting attacked. But then you could also potentially hold on to some crazy strong dice and just be able to throw them at them. Like obviously there wouldn't be it wouldn't apply any of the current perks we have, right? Like you wouldn't be able to like take advantage of any like, you know, double damage and stuff like that. But it could just be like a simple like you're casting a spell, right? Like you're casting a geo spell. It's just a level 1 geo spell, but it consumes it. It's a consumable spell that you're casting. Huh. Now you need hotkeys. I was actually literally just thinking about that. I almost feel like I do need to get some hotkeys. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, there's not quite enough. I was thinking I could use 1, 2, 3, QWE, ASD, and X or ZXC to be able to use as hotkeys along here. But I would need another row of keys. Because there's 15. So I couldn't do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, I could for these, but then I've got 6 more that I would need to figure out some hotkeys for.
It could be interesting, though. It could be interesting to have some hotkeys to be able to activate the items in your inventory, just like on the screen. That could be kind of nice, actually. Again, I would have to kind of figure out exactly how I'm going to do the hotkeys, and I would probably also make it so you could assign them yourself.
Maybe? Yeah, I'd probably have to make it so you could assign them yourself. We'll have to think about that. We will have to think about that. That way, there's a new way of playing potions and dice only. It's a fun variation that doesn't affect the core gameplay. And that's what I'm kind of thinking, is like, Blackjack is still here. And Blackjack is going to be the most... What would be the right term for that? It would be the most efficient use of dice, is to eventually put them into your spellbook so you can do more damage, so you can draw cards and do damage that way, right? Like that is the most efficient use of your dice. But again, if you're in a pinch here and you're like, I am almost dead, I am out of health potions, I don't want to risk this 16, I don't want to risk drawing again, but I also don't want to risk only going up, like, again, him going up against my 16. So we'll be like, okay, he's got 4 health left, I've got a D4 right here, I'm not going to need it to upgrade anything, I'm just going to use that, I'm just going to cast level 4 Necro on this guy, kill him, and then we're good to go. I think I might do something like that. There should be some cold keys too. Some people don't like it. There we go. We'll have some cold keys and some hot keys. Don't you worry, Cameron. But yeah, so long as no one is absolutely opposed to that, I might actually potentially do something like that, where you can essentially use your dice for more than one thing. It's like you're holding on to them, obviously, to get to the end, so you can upgrade your spellbook. But if you had leftovers and you're just like, nah, whatever, I'm just gonna do a little bit of damage here and there. Maybe. Huh. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Alt plus 1, 2, 3, etc. We could do that. We could absolutely do that. The only thing, and this will kind of just be like the downside of controllers. I'm still not exactly sure how I'm even going to do controller inputs for this game. I haven't even thought about that yet. Which I do want to have controller input. but I don't know how I'm going to do that. So yeah, we'll have to figure that out. See, Kemeth, first-time chatter. First of all, I hope that I did not butcher your name, but welcome. Glad to see you here. Says, this is RPG Maker. Yes, it absolutely is. This is RPG Maker MV. So that is what we're making this game in. And yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time. Very, very custom. Lots of JavaScript going on here. But, you know, it's coming along. It's coming along. Oh, 21. I'm so glad that I took that hit. But yeah. So I'm sure that if you were to like sit here and look at it, you could probably see some of the jankiness of RPG Maker as you looked longer and longer. But yeah, so this is RPG Maker MV, and yeah, I'm a little sad that I didn't start making this in RPG Maker MZ, but I didn't have it at the time that I started this project, and so I'm like, I'll just finish it at MV, and then eventually down the line we'll switch over to. Now that's the hand that I've been waiting to test this perk on, which is allowing you to get up to a 22, is you can actually get double aces. That's beautiful. You can get 2 aces. And you don't bust on 2 aces. You can also do the split, though. You can do the split, which could, if you have 2 aces, that could significantly raise your chances of getting double blackjacks, which is wild stuff if you get double blackjacks. It's super cool. Anyway, yeah. Okay, I'm standing on that. I'm standing there. Oh! That was the absolute worst. Oh my gosh. He tied with my 20, and then I automatically lost because of this freaking perk that I have, which then makes it so all ties are automatically won by the enemy. That's tragic. That is absolutely tragic. I see, that's cool. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, it's I love RPG Maker. I've been using it for like 25 years now, and I'm like, how far can I push this engine? I know it's not as far as some people have pushed it. Some people have gone crazy with RPG Maker, but I don't know. You apply a little bit of JavaScript, and you can make it do some fun things. Yeah, he pushed this beyond its limits. Every now and then, I am kind of like, maybe I've gone a little bit too far. Maybe. Why would you prefer the other version of Maker? Yes, that is a great question. Wait. How long have you been making this? Looks great. I am so sorry, Blue Wizard. I did not see your message. I am very sorry. I hope you are still here, Blue Wizard. But yes, so to answer your first question, how long have you been making this? Looks great. First of all, I do appreciate that. Thank you. We've been working on this for about 1.5 years now. So I started back in December of 2024. It has gone through quite a few iterations. I was actually going over this near the beginning of the stream. So this was my first potential idea for this game back in, so I made this back in November of 2024, and I was basically going to be, it's kind of the general same concept, just without blackjack, and basically it was you were dealing with D6s for combat and all that fun stuff. And then I was like, that's too limiting, and so I decided to go with D20s, and then I made version, I guess 1.5 or something, or I guess version 2 maybe. Yeah, so then I made this, and I was like, maybe that gets us a little bit closer. And then, so this was roughly around like the beginning of December of 2024, and I was like trying to figure out. I was like, there's something missing. I'm like, it's an interesting concept, but there's something missing, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And then I realized I like this has happened to me literally once in my life. Actually, waking up from a deep sleep in the middle of the night in a cold sweat because I had the idea. I realized it needs blackjack. And the reason why I woke up in a cold sweat is because, well, one, I was like racking my brain, just like, what can I do here? What does it need? But also because I've been trying to make a blackjack RPG of some kind for like, since like 2018, 2019, sometime around then, is when I was first having the idea for another game that was specific to blackjack. But I could never get that game quite right either. And so I just kept putting it back on the shelf again and again and again, year over year. And I was just like, it's not going to work. But then I woke up in a cold sweat sometime in December of 2024, around the beginning of the month. And I was just like, what if I combine the idea of the dice with the blackjack combat? And so, yes, that's how Tomb of Vercilias, I named it Tomb of Vercilias 2, but it's just the first game. So that is how the current build of Tomb of Vercilias was born, where, yeah, it is a retro-style dungeon-crawling roguelike RPG where the combat's based on blackjack. So anyway, but then to answer your second question, why would you prefer the other version of Maker? So here are the key reasons why I would prefer RPG Maker MZ over MV. The biggest is a back-end thing. So with RPG Maker MV, it is a 32-bit application. Now, just for anybody who is not quite sure why that means, anything, right? Like, what does a 32-bit application mean? The biggest reason why you would want to switch from RPG Maker MV to MZ is because RPG Maker MV is a 32-bit application, whereas RPG Maker MZ is a 64-bit application. So RPG Maker MV is limited to 2 gigabytes of RAM. It cannot use any more than that. It does not matter how much RAM you have in your computer. It does not matter if you have 64 gig of RAM, which is what I've got. It cannot use any more than that. It is limited to 2 gig, capped. Hard cap, cannot use any more than that. Absolutely tragic. Which is why, specifically, if you come in here to RPG Maker and you say, show picture, and you're like, why would they have an artificial, weird limitation of 100 pictures you can show on the screen at once? I was always just like, well, why would you ever want to show more than 100 pictures on the screen at once? That's just crazy. But then I finally realized, after a very long time, and I was like, oh, it is a limitation of the software. If they try to show more than 100 pictures on the screen at once, that is when it starts getting to that threshold of the 2 gigabytes of RAM, and it would start lagging, having a hard time, and all that fun stuff. So that is one of the biggest reasons why, is because as soon as you break that limit of no longer using only 2 gigabytes of RAM, it opens up so many more possibilities. You can run so many more events on the screen at once. You can have so many more pictures on the screen at once, which is why in MZ, you can raise the limit of how many pictures you show on the screen at once. In MV, like, you cannot raise that limit. In MZ, you can raise it as much as you want. Well, as far as I know. I don't think I've ever tried to push it to its absolute limit, but you can increase the amount of images you can show. So you can show more than 100 on the screen at once because it has the chance to be able to use more RAM. Now, that being said, if you are, going to be showing tons of events on the screen, tons of pictures, you're probably still going to run into people who have issues because not everybody's going to have a ton of RAM. Some people have 8 gig of RAM, and let's say if they've got YouTube playing on one monitor and then they're playing your RPG Maker game on the other monitor, and all of a sudden you're showing 500 pictures on the screen and there's 1,000 NPCs moving around all at once, it's going to have a bad time. So they're going to run out of RAM, and it's not going to be great. But at least you have the option to be able to upgrade like that. So that would be number one, is as to why I would want it. Number two is there's just like a few more customization options as well that are just kind of built into it. It's like resolution you can just change in RPG Maker MZ. RPG Maker MV, you have to have a plugin to be able to just change the resolution, which like isn't the end of the world, but like, I kind of like it. I don't know, there's definitely getting to be a lot more plugins for RPG Maker MZ. In the beginning, obviously MV had way more plugins, but MZ now has quite a few more, which is absolutely fantastic. But probably the biggest thing for me is because I am such a heavy JavaScript user now. I wasn't when I first started, but now that I am so much more of a heavy JavaScript user, having this tiny little window right here, this itty bitty little thing right here, is so frustrating to write JavaScript in. Because as you can see, you get crazy lines of JavaScript and it just becomes a nightmare to read. An absolute nightmare. They also have no scroll bar. There's no scroll bar here at the bottom in RPG Maker MV to be able to like scroll back and forth along to see all of your code. So like, usually what I do is I just close out of the window and I just scroll along out here to like look at my JavaScript. Very annoying stuff. With RPG Maker MZ, they do have a scroll bar. The window is bigger, and it just, so it does help a little bit on the whole JavaScript writing thing, which I do a lot in this game. Probably too much, but oh well, it gets the job done. And then probably the last thing I would say is, again, it's kind of back with the plugins, and that is running the actual plugin commands. Because here in RPG Maker MV, when you go to run a plugin command, you basically have to know the command that you are going to be running, and you have to then like type it in every single time. So say for example, I have a plugin that allows me to be able to have image smoothing, like image, I don't know why I cannot think of the proper term, but basically I can add easing to the pictures, right? So like say for example, if I wanted to say I want the picture, so as it's moving along, as it gets to the end, I want it to move like this. So I want it to move linearly and then slow down at the end and then come to a nice smooth stop. Interpolation, that is the one, interpolation. So yeah, so I want it to be able to, and maybe I want to add like bounce to images or rubber band effects and things like that. So there's an absolutely fantastic plugin for RPG Maker MV that allows you to do that. And to be able to apply those to image layers, you have to say picture easing 92 quad out, or picture easing 92 quad in out, picture easing 92 elastic out, picture easing. You get it, right? So you have to type it in manually every single time. But in RPG Maker MZ, when you come in here and you go to plugin commands, instead of popping up a little window here where you have to type in the command, it will have a drop down of all your plugins, You select the plugin you want, and then it has a drop down of all of those plugin commands that are a part of that plugin. So no more typing, no more having to do crazy things. You can literally just say, I want to run this plugin command for this plugin. Here you go. And then you're done. So that is honestly another huge thing that I'm just like, I would love if that were the case. So, but anyway, all that to say, MV is still absolutely fantastic. I love MV. MV is, yeah, beautiful stuff. MV is probably now the engine that I've used the most now. That definitely was like XP was probably like my most used engine for many years because I used it for thousands of hours. Yeah, so MV is definitely getting there. What am I actually at now? MV, where am I at now? So MV, I am now, oh, I'm so close. I am so close to 4,000 hours. I am now,
Thanks for the follow, Dio Designs.
Dio Design, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. Glad to see you here. Yeah, so I'm nearing 4,000 hours in MV, so I've used it a lot. I've used it a lot, but yeah. Anyway, there's that rant. There's that rant. So I apologize if that was a very too much long of a rant, but and also Blue Wizard, if you had been here, if you are still here, hopefully that was useful for you. If not, I do at least appreciate you jumping in and commenting. So thank you, thank you. Dan says the RAM limitations is so annoying that some adult games have had to pre-bake a lot of their character art when it started off really well optimized. I know. See, and now with RPG Maker MZ, you can have all the adult content you want in your game, and it's beautiful stuff. Not that I'd know anything about that. Yeah, not that you would know. Not that I would know anything about that kind of stuff. But you can, and it can. Let's see, Blue Wizard says, awesome and fascinating. Def seems more streamlined. Too bad the MV plugins don't auto-migrate to Z. It's true. I do wish that it was much more much more of a through line to be able to get the plugins from MV to MZ. I know there's been some absolutely fantastic devs that have actually put in the time and effort and push a bunch of their scripts over to MZ, or even just rewritten them for MZ, like specifically for some ran dev. I guess I'm sure that if you're familiar with RPG Maker, you're probably familiar with RPG Maker. If you're familiar with RPG Maker, you're probably familiar with some ran dev, aka some ran dude, if you use any of their plugins way back in the day. But yeah, so some ran dev has done fantastic and ported a ton of their plugins over from MV to MZ, and have also rewritten a handful of them. So the HUD maker that some ran dev has created, so the one from RPG Maker MV, absolutely fantastic. I love it. I use it in this project religiously. It is all over the place. So like say, for example, like with the text here, that is HUD Maker. When I hover over this, the text down here at the bottom, that is all HUD Maker. If I come over into here, the bars, the numbers, all these numbers here, that's all HUD Maker. If I come in here, as I click on this to be able to upgrade this, if you see this little bar right here going up, that is all HUD Maker. So HUD Maker is all over the place in this project. But as absolutely fantastic as HUD Maker is in RPG Maker MV, the HUD Maker at MZ, oh, now that thing is a powerful piece of software. I love that thing so much. That is one thing that that is probably like one of the bigger things that I'm like, I wish I was using MZ right now, because that thing is so amazing. I love it so much. It's actually how I made these chickens right down here at the bottom. These chickens were actually made in RPG Maker MZ, and all the names right here that are showing, those are all HUD Maker, and they're able to follow the picture layers that run across the screen. And yeah, so then that way I can just take the names of characters that I have stored in the hero database, and I have them applied to image layers. Yeah, it's great. It's absolutely fantastic. So beautiful stuff there. Because originally, when I first made this in RPG Maker MV, I literally had to go into Photoshop, and if someone subscribed on Twitch, which is how you get one of these chickens if you're subscribed on Twitch, or if you're a member on YouTube, I would have to open up Photoshop, take their name, create an image layer, and then I would show that image layer above another image layer to be able to show the names. It was not good. It was not good. So yeah, HUD Maker definitely saved me on this one. Definitely. Let's see here. Yeah, he pushes this beyond its limits. From double aces to bust and tie. LOL, hey Mooney. Dude, RPG Maker MZ isn't on sale yet. Oh, don't worry, it will be. It absolutely will be. Just wait. Summer sale, it will 100% go on sale. He only works for 15 minutes a stream. Demo won't come out until after GTA 6. That is not true. That is not true. I am definitely going to be getting this out before GTA 6. I swear. I swear it. It is going to happen. You mean GTA 7. Tomb of Vercilias. All right, Loki. All right. So yeah, Jerry says, I want to get MZ, but I have to wait for it to go on sale. Trust me, it is going to be worth it. When you get that thing on sale, it is so good. It is so good. Is it hard to switch? That's crazy. Yeah, it is not hard at all to switch. There's a few things you do have to get used to, but it is really not that bad. That is honestly one of the greatest things about RPG Maker, like the series as a whole, is how easy it is to go from one engine to the next. Like, I'll just give you a really quick example, all right? I'm going to open up RPG Maker 2000. This was the RPG Maker that I started with back in 2001. So that is roughly when I started my RPG Maker journey, right? So I got a copy of this back in 2001. So yeah, so it's literally been like 25 years now that I've been using RPG Maker essentially. Yeah, so just to kind of give you like a quick back and forth, it's like you can definitely see there are differences, right? Obviously, there are differences here, and you'll just have to ignore the fact that, like, obviously my game is gonna look very different from like a usual top-down RPG Maker game would look like. But here's what I'm going to show you really quickly. If we open up the database here in RPG Maker MV, and then we open up the database here in RPG Maker 2000. So again, keep in mind, this came out 15 years before this version came out. Okay? You got actors, skills, you got classes, right? But then you got skills.
Moonwood has been super chatted up by Blue Wizard 420. Hopefully this helps get out before GTA 6 lol.
Blue Wizard, thank you so much for that $2 super chat. I do appreciate it. Thank you. And yes, it definitely will help. It will 100% help. And I'm definitely going to get this out before, well, I'm going to get the demo out before GTA 6 gets out. I promise it's going to happen. Unless they happen to like push up their date, this is definitely going to be out before GTA 6. I promise. But yeah, I appreciate that. So thank you. Anyway, yeah, so it's just kind of going back and forth. So you got skills, and then you got skills. You got items, Obviously, back in, RPG Maker 2000, they, like, combined everything into the items menu, so it's like you had your actual items, then you've got, weapons, armor, all that fun stuff. And they, they broke it up here a little bit, so you got items, weapons, armors, all that fun stuff. You got enemies, troops. So, like, things that you have learned from previous RPG Makers can absolutely be applied to newer RPG Makers. Obviously, some things come, some things go. Mostly new things are added. Every now and then there are things that do get taken out. But like if you come in here to the system, like you can see, like you can set up all your music, your sound effects, all that fun stuff, set up your boats and all that fun stuff. Come in here to system, you got your music, your sound effects. You've got a whole bunch of attack motions, you got your player starting point, you got your boat, your ship, your airship, all that stuff right here. And then of course you got like a whole bunch of other settings. And then even on top of that, so you got terms in here. You got the same thing here. I mean, they're called. No, you still got terms. You still got terms right here, just a little bit better, laid out like this. All the different tabs in here. It's the same thing. You can come in here and you could like edit all your terms. So all of this to say, if you have used previous versions of RPG Maker, you basically will know how to use RPG Maker 2000, 2003, XP, VX, VX Ace, MV, MZ. And then whatever in the future, except for that it seems like they're potentially switching over to the Unity or Godot that their new one's going to be in. I can't remember which one it is. Anyway, that one's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, but and then on top of that, you also have in the, like, say for example, the event commands. Come in here, and if I create a new event, here's the event page. Here's the event page. You got all the commands up here for new, copy, paste, delete, new, copy, paste, delete, clear. You got your conditions right here in the top left. You got your conditions here in the top left. You got your images and all like the trigger, the priority, image, trigger, priority, all sorts of crazy things. So again, like it is so well laid out, even way back here, that it really just like took a little bit of refining. Because they open up here, first thing, show text. Open up here, first thing, show text. Now obviously, it's a little less refined here. You got show text right here, but then you also have to do display text settings. You can do like normal, transparent, top, middle, bottom, all that fun stuff. Whereas over here in the newer version, you've got all of that in here already. So you can do, window, dim, transparent, top, middle, bottom, all that fun stuff. So, but it is roughly the exact same thing across the board, whether you use an engine from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or 20 years ago. Anyway, all of that to say, if you use RPG Maker, do not be afraid about switching from one to the next, just because you're most likely being able to transfer all of your skills from one to now, there are a few things they did introduce in MZ that kind of took a little bit of getting used to for some people, like say, for example, with the animation. So in RPG Maker MV, this was the last engine to use regular sprite sheet animation. So basically, you would have these animation sheets of fire, earth, ice, whatever it may be, and it would have anywhere from 5 frames of animation to 20 frames to I think like 32 frames of animation, and you would basically put in these image layers one after another to like create this animation. In RPG Maker MZ, with it being a 64-bit application now, they were able to introduce a particle system, and so you can use actual particles to like create animations in RPG Maker MZ. There were a lot of people that were up in arms about it. They were like, this is terrible, and then people actually used it, and they were like, oh, this is actually way better once you get used to it. So honestly, at the end of the day, if anything changes from one thing to the next, if you get used to it, it's going to be better. So yeah, there's my 2 cents. Let's see here. Dio Design says, thanks, joined and right into a 32-64-bit discussion, which I like. Well, there we go. I'm glad that you like that discussion. So, and I do appreciate you joining. So thank you. I love listening to people yap. Well, I do that a lot here, so I hope that it does not get annoying. There's a reason why there's no demo. There is a reason that there's. Wait. There is a reason why there's no demo out. Yeah. Because I don't have it done. There's my reason. Says the man who can't make a pop-up booksy. Alright, you know what, Loki? If you keep pushing this, I might have to actually do it. It's not going to be good, but I might actually do it. Oh, I meant, is it hard to switch your project to... Well, I apologize for that yap session. Is it hard to move your project from one to the other? If you're going from MV to MZ... As long as you don't have a ton of plugins, it is pretty easy. So they have a tool to allow you to be able to transition your project from MV to MZ just across the board. You're good to go. As soon as you have too many plugins, you might have some that just don't switch over well. Like I said before, some people have gone in and they've updated their plugins so there are MZ equivalents or just complete rewrites.
Sometimes change can be good, but it's sure not easy. Also, shots fired by Loki lol.
It's true. But yeah, so as long as you don't have too many plugins that are customizing it too much, it's honestly, you convert it to MZ and you're good to go. Like that is literally all it takes. The reason why I have not done that is because I have a handful of plugins. It's not as many as some people do. I do have a handful of plugins. I also have a couple custom-made plugins. So like this one, for example, is for a matching game that I have in my game. So if I actually come over here and we go common events, spawn monsters, we're going to set you to be -4 through -1. Pull this over here. And if I come over to, let's see, where is the exit going to spawn? This is jest. The exit is probably going to spawn here. Yeah, there we go. So I created a bubble pop mini game. So if you go to pick the lock of this door, it'll do a bubble pop mini game, which if you're familiar with like any kind of like bubble pop, basically the idea is any connecting of the same color, if you click on them, it will pop any that are touching and then it'll drop in new ones. So I had to write a custom plugin to be able to handle that kind of recursion, to be able to say, because I tried to just like event it and it was an absolute nightmare. Because again, like say for example, if I were to click this block right here, it would have to check all of its neighboring blocks. So this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. So yeah, so up, right, down, and left. And I have to say, okay, are you a matching ID of the one that just got clicked? So it'd say no, no, no. But then yes to up. It would say, okay, cool. Now it needs to check this one. Check left, right, down, up. Are any of those matching? Well, it already checked this one, so don't check that again. So then up, yes it is. So then it moves up to here and it says, okay, and it just goes over again and again and again. It was an absolute nightmare. I had evented some of it and I'm just like, this is absolutely horrible. Yeah, so went in, I had to write a custom plugin for that. I'm not going to rewrite that for MZ. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I'm like, you know what? It works, so I'm just going to keep it in here. Let's see, where was I going with this? Oh, yeah, custom plugin. So if the person who has written the plugin has also updated to work in MZ, it's going to work just fine. You're going to be good. But there is like just enough change from MV to MZ that like you can't just take a plugin from MV and have it work in MZ. Just because there's been changes in JavaScript and in RPG Maker itself, where there's just like some ways that like code is written, things are referenced, that it just doesn't work quite the same. So that is why. But yes, so you absolutely can convert from MV to MZ, again, so long as you have not created too many or implemented too many custom plugins. Technically, the project will still work. You just might have to work around either not having a plugin that you had, or hoping that they have a new plugin that was. Yeah. Hopefully that's helpful though.
Going to the Inkwell says, what are you working on tonight, my friend? I was gonna stream tonight, but some stuff happened and I just kinda don't feel like it.
It's fair. That is fair. Hey, and that's the thing too, is that, like, if you're ever not feeling like streaming, don't stream. Like, there's not really, honestly, not anything that's gonna be bad with not streaming, right? Like, it's take a day off, jump back into it the next day. Like, totally fine. No worries at all there. But whatever it is, I hope that things will be okay for you. But yeah, so what are we working on tonight? So we started the night off, we were working on getting one of the perk cards actually working, and I think we've tested it and everything is good to go. So the perk card that we've added is the Ring of Security. So we added most of it on the last stream. Oh my goodness.
Man into a chicken.
I'm a chicken. Bok, 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 bokity, bok, bok, bok. Welcome, welcome. Glad to see you here, all of you. Absolutely fantastic times. Yeah, so the Ring of Security, oh, excuse me, Ring of Security is one of the perk cards that is going to make it so you can draw up to 22 without having a busting hand. So again, like I've talked about, the combat is blackjack, and so the rules of blackjack are if you draw anything above a 21, it is considered a bust, and so your hand loses and then the monster wins. But this perk will allow you to be able to draw up to 22 without busting. Like, it doesn't change the blackjack. Blackjack is still 21, but this at least makes it so if you draw 22, you don't actually lose the round. But the negative to that positive is that all ties are now automatically won by the enemy. So in general, if you ever tied, then you would roll a dice and you would guess either is it going to be evens or odds. If it's evens and you guessed evens, then you win. You actually get to attack. But if it's odds and you guessed evens, then the monster wins and then you get attacked. But then with this, you will no longer have that anymore. So it is great that you can draw up to a 22 without busting, but it's terrible because if you ever get a tie, then, you know, you lose every single time. So there's no, oh, we got a tie, nobody wins, nobody loses. It's the monster wins. The monster wins every time. I feel like that's a good kind of trade-off between if you get a 22, you're not down and out, but also if you get a tie, you're down and out kind of a thing. So, did you just curse at us? I don't think so. I said bok. Bok, bok, bokity, bok, bok, bok. Is what I did say. Okay, let's see. Dan, I can't remember if I read your message. The RAM limitation is so annoying that some adult games... That's right, I did read that one. I did read that one. Not that you would know, though. Not that you would know, and not that I would know. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So, that is what we were working on, and I believe, again, like I said, I'm pretty sure we got that thing working. Which I have now just realized I have turned off all enemy spawns, and so... I mean, we could go in here and fight the boss. We could fight the boss and test it. I mean, we did technically already test it, and it was all working, so I kind of want to do it again, just in case. 15, 25, okay, that sucked. He literally has 1 health. Let's see if I can get him. 15, 20... Look at that, look at that! The Ring of Protection is protecting and saving me. The Ring of Protection is absolutely beautiful stuff. I love it. The chicken needs to be put in jail. No, don't put the chicken in jail. Don't put the chicken in jail. Nobody puts chicken in the jail. Not on my watch. Blech. I don't know what that was. Drinking water and stuff getting on. Like, weird stuff's getting on my lips. Anyway, yeah, let's stand on 22. Cool. There's no way he can beat that, so. Sucker. Yeah, cool. Interact with the glyphs. Let's see what happens here. So we've got to rotate you there. Oh. There we go. You roughly there, and then you roughly there. Cool. But I do still need to get the thing. Looks like it's going to be room 31. Oh, wait. Oh, wait, room 36. Room 36. Okay, so that's that. Do we have a key? We do have a key. What do we got? Oh, we got a potion. Big potion. Oh, wait, room 36 is over here. There we go. There's the void stone. There we go. That's what we find. And then we come back over here. Interact with the glyphs. And we put that in there. That does the whole animation. And then there we go. Got ourselves a portal to go through. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Cool. And then we go through the portal. And it's like, ooh. And then we go to the next floor. Pick a new one. Which I would say we get Axel's Sharpened Cheddar Wheel, which increases all of our elemental damage by 5%, but it reduces our dexterity saving throw by 15%. I don't care about dex saving throws. And then here's where you can actually upgrade your spells. I'm actually trying to think of I don't know how many people that are here watching have actually seen the spell book in the demo. I know that there are, like, if you've been around for a while, you definitely have. But this is what the spell book looks like. So when you go from floor to floor, you are able to pull up your spell book and be able to, you know, unlock new spells and upgrade spells. So if we were to upgrade our pyro spell here, we just do that, and we do that to a 4. I won't be able to do anything more there, but now I'm doing 4 pyro damage. We'll upgrade this guy a little bit, up to a 4. Again, there we go. You will upgrade to a 3, and then you'll upgrade to a 3. Cool. And save. Yeah, so now I'm doing 5 damage, 4 damage, and 4 damage. But wait a minute, this guy, increase all elemental damage by 5%. How much is that actually going to do? That's the real question. That seems like it's going to be a little bit crazy, right? Maybe I'm mistaken. I just want to see. So, we take a hit. Let's set on a 17. So what should this do? That would be 8, 13, plus 5%.
Going to the Inkwell says, I have shrimp. Yum.
Did that actually do... That only did 13. Because he ended with negative 12 health. Which is just 13. Did that not consider all elemental damage by 5%? Huh. Let's see. Jerry says, sick portal animation. Sick portal, the animation is awesome. I appreciate that, Jerry. Thank you. Yeah, it took a while to get it just right, but I feel pretty happy with it now. And Ink, I'm very happy that you do have your shrimp. I don't like it, but I'm glad you have it. I'm very happy for you. I think it's nasty. Personally. Not much of a seafood person. So, I didn't break the cheese, did I? I hope not. Let's actually have some monsters spawn again. I also need to turn on the fan. There we go. Got the fan on. We should be good. A shame. Also, I return to the ignored corner. You're not ignored? Wait, am I ignoring you? I hope not. I hope I'm not ignoring you. That ignored corner is reserved strictly for Loki. So, you might want to stay out of his corner. He's very particular. Okay, let me just double check on this. Axel's sharpened cheddar wheel increases all elemental damage by 5%. Oh. I see it now. Okay. So these are showing the actual numbers for what the actual damage is going to be doing. So none of this, oh, you know, my spell is doing 4 damage each. But then, how do I figure the math plus 5%? No, it just adds it here. It just shows you what it is. So it wasn't that the spells would be doing... Okay, all right. I'm a freaking idiot. Yeah, so if we come in here, and we go back, the spell book, we'll be able to see this. Yeah. We go back to the spell book. So, as you can see here, we upgrade Pyro to be level 4, but then down here it's saying it's level 5. I know that's kind of hard to see because it's very small, but I promise it's there. It is currently level 4 here in the spell book, but it is doing 5 damage because we have the sharpened wheel of cheese. So, there is that. So that does mean that this is showing correctly. It is showing the correct damage there based on the wheel of cheese that we have. So, I think that works best. Yeah, I don't want there to be... I don't want you to have to like try and figure out like, okay, well, how much is plus 5% of my damage? Like, what's this gonna be?
Says, I guess you could say it's a wheel axle of cheese.
It is a wheel axle of cheese. I like that. I like that. That is clever. So yeah, Jerry says, hey, Mooney, do I get a cool perk named after me? How about my perk is the whole throwing dice thing? There is no negative because throwing dice is its own negative. That'd be kind of interesting. Lock that behind a perk. Jerry's just died. I like that. I'm trying to decide. Because I feel like if we... Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if we had that behind a perk card, I almost feel like people would always take it, right? For better or worse. Maybe. I'll have to think on that one. Because I'm like, I feel like I would want to go either one of two ways. One, it would either not be behind a perk. Exactly, because Jerry is awesome and everybody wants me. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, Jerry. Yeah, so I'm kind of thinking, so either it would be, we either don't want to have that locked behind a perk, or we would have each element locked behind a perk. So it basically is, you know, say things like, you know, allow pyro dice to be used on enemies or something. That's quite benefiting. It's true. That's true. But I also hesitate about making it so that you have to unlock every single element. I feel like that would be kind of just tedious. I'm on the fence about it, Jerry. You absolutely 100% can and will get a perk card. So actually, here, let's do this. Let's do this. Just because I'm like on the fence about it. How about Jerry's just dice and enhances the damage dealt plus percentage? Okay, we could actually probably do that. We could do that. Where you could increase the amount of damage you're doing with the dice. Yeah, we absolutely could do that. Then here's the question then. So we've got a couple more perk cards that we kind of have in the pipeline as of right now. So we have this one right here. So add perk, raise bust from 21. So let's actually grab that and put that into description. And then here we're going to say add perk, ring of protection. This one is raise bust from 21 to 22, but can't blackjack on a 22. No, okay, so we're getting rid of that because that was just freaking confusing. There's a raise bust from 21 to 22, but blackjack, oh my gosh, still happen on 21. And then also, what was the negative? It was monsters win every high. There we go. Okay. Save that. That one is good. We're good to go there. So let's check that off. Throw that down at the bottom. Zoom, 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 zoom. Yep. Okay, so here's the perks that we still have. So I'm just throwing this out here, Jerry. Like, I'm 100% on board with that, with making it so that you can increase the damage dealt with the dice. I am 100% board on that. That would be really cool. That would be super cool. But here are some other ones that you could potentially have. If we come over here and we go to perk, I think there's a couple that we have that don't have names yet. We got Fairly's Fantastic Scroll that already has a name. Griffin's Potion of Power that already has a name. Ah, Griffin. Rest in peace. Wherever you went. Nick's Hat of Divine Wisdom, that's assigned. Axel's Sharpened Cheddar Wheel, that's already assigned. Mather's Ailstone Goblins, that's assigned. Spiked Pauldron. So the Spiked Pauldron does not have an owner yet. So if anybody would like to have the Spiked Pauldron named after them, we can absolutely do that. So basically the thing that the Spiked Pauldron does is it gives you thorns damage. So if you ever get attacked, you will do 2% of that damage back at the monster. And then also, I think the negative for that one is you have like a 2% chance to double draw when you're drawing cards. So there's that. So if anybody wants the Spiked Pauldron, we can definitely name it after you. We've got the Coin of Axiomyth, so that one is obviously already taken. Ring of Security, that one is technically not taken. And then this one has been rebranded to the Sharpened Cheddar Wheel. So we technically have these daggers as well that we could also use. yeah, so we've got the Spike Pauldron, we've got the Ring of Security, which that's the one we just did, so that's the one that makes it so you can draw up to 22, but then you also, it makes it so that monsters will always win ties. And then the daggers are also, so if anyone is like, hey, I would absolutely love to have a perk named after me, and if either the daggers of damage, so the daggers are actually on board with being completely rewritten. It's basically just the icons that are in place. Yeah, so they don't even have to be named anything close to blank daggers of damage. It could be whatever you want them to be. Yeah, so it's the daggers, it's the Ring of Security, and the Spike Pauldron. So if anyone would like any of those, feel free. We also do have a couple other perks that we are working on. So we've got the Elemental Daggers. We do need to add those. We've got the Charge Strike. So the Charge Strike. Unused damage from the last strike of the previous encounter is stored in a bottle and can be used on an enemy. The charge is replaced at the end of the next counter if not used. If an enemy gets a blackjack, they break open the bottle and the charged up damage is unleashed on the player instead. Yeah, so I don't really know the negative for that one. And that is also an extremely long description, so we're probably gonna have to dial that one back a little bit. But so there is also that one, the Charge Strike. Let's see, aces are wild. It makes it so make ace cards be equal to any value between 1 and 11, putting the sequence up to a 21. So instead of aces only being a 1 or an 11, they could be anything in between, so long as it doesn't make you go over 21, which is going to be an absolutely mad perk right there. And then we also have this one right here. So Candy Key. Chest rooms restore some HP when chests are opened. That would be a good one. Add perk Getaway, a perk that allows you to leave combat even when a monster has a blackjack. Oh, wait! Bryant already has requested the daggers. Never mind, the daggers are off the table. So Bryant's daggers, the next 3 blackjacks on non-boss enemies instantly when you fight. I don't know how I'm going to do that one. I honestly do not know. I'll figure it out. The daggers are already taken. And then we have the last one that we have in here, which is an Unknown Artist's Sacrifice. An Unknown Artist's Sacrifice unlocked by finding the painter's room, a skeleton propped up in a corner with a painting of Vercilias unfinished. The ability could be something along the lines of minus luck plus damage from necro, so on and so forth. Haven't really, gotten that one figured out yet. But Unknown Artist, we probably do need to talk about that one just a little bit to kind of figure out what we want to do there. Anyway, but yeah, Jerry, I'm 100% on board with doing the Just Dice, and I think that would be an absolute blast. Let's see, Esthetica, I hope that I pronounced that right, over on YouTube says, what's your tip for understanding the damage formula implemented in RPG Maker better? Ooh, that is a great question. I know you're not going to want to hear this, but honestly, probably the best thing you could do is just poke around. Just start changing numbers and seeing what happens. So here's the thing. I have not used the actual combat mechanics in RPG Maker in probably like 10 years. So when it comes to actual combat mechanics, like actual RPG Maker built-in combat mechanics, they're kind of a mystery to me. I'm going to be completely honest. Yeah, so some of them get a little bit crazy. I know that you come in here and you got the traits and you've got all sorts of crazy things. Yeah, it is a lot. The best thing you could do, and there's a reason why they come pre-shipped with this. The best thing I would say you could do is when you create a new project and you come over here to weapons, same thing with like skills and stuff like that, there will be pre-made weapons, skills, all that fun stuff. Pull open a skill, pull open an item, pull open whatever it may be that you need, and just look at what they are currently doing. Just kind of see how they've built theirs out, and then kind of like, I don't want to say figure it out from there, but yeah, just kind of see how they built up their skills on the pre-made items and skills that come with the game, and just see how they're doing the thing, and then kind of just like re-implement that. So I wish that I had a better answer for you. I can like almost all but guarantee you that there are some absolutely fantastic tutorials out there on how to understand like the traits and things like that in RPG Maker. Again, unfortunately, because I have not used the actual combat mechanics in RPG Maker for a very long time, it kind of gets crazy. And I just, a lot of it goes over my head. So you have the very basics, obviously. Like if you don't want to deal too much with the actual, like with the more in-depth traits, you do have the very basic attack number. Like how much does this weapon do? This weapon is going to do 25, or it's going to increase the player's attack by 25. And obviously, like you've got the very other basic numbers: defense, agility, luck, magic attack, magic defense, HP, MP, all that fun stuff. So you can stick very basically with just the parameter changes of the weapon, of the item, of the armor, whatever it may be. Yeah, it's really when you start getting into the traits that I'm like, you can do some crazy cool things, because you can literally just be like, oh, this is going to be a fire elemental rate at 50%. So half the time it's going to be doing fire elemental damage with the attack. So kind of cool stuff, But again, I'm like, it's a lot. Yeah. And of course, you got the basics right here. You have the elemental, the attack element is physical. And you can change any of those and all that stuff. So yeah. I'm sure that's not useful at all for you, and I'm very sorry, but that's basically what I got is, yeah, it's just kind of look at what they comes kind of pre-packaged with, and if you want to just keep it simple, just kind of stick with the default parameters, because then at that point, like, you're not really setting like an actual number, because it all like rolls a dice, right? And this is kind of like affecting what that dice roll is going to be in terms of how much damage it could be doing, once it takes into consideration a monster's defense and all that fun stuff. So, yeah. I hope that in some way, shape, or form that was useful. I hope. Fingers crossed. See, Cameron says, well, it sounds like 4th of July has come early. Really? Already? There's like freaking, what, like 2 weeks? Yeah, there's still like 2 weeks. But people are already out there with fireworks. That's wild. That is wild. I'm actually very, very nervous. 3 by my count. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Either that or don't go outside, because it's very dangerous out there. Yeah, I kind of wonder what it's going to be like here in Utah for me, because it is very dry this year here in Utah. Like, very, very dry. I'm sure they're going to have all sorts of restrictions to not allow people to put off fireworks. I'm sure people are still going to do it, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, so I do want to add this, because this is something I actually want to have in the demo. And that is, make it so you can drag dice onto monsters to damage them. Where'd that go? Where the freak did that go? Oh, add card. Okay, there we go. I hit enter and then it disappeared, and I'm like, that would do it. Okay, yeah, so make it so you can drag dice onto monsters to damage them. So yeah, so basically, let's see, we'll need to apply elemental considerations. Let's see. Yeah, because basically, like, if you're dragging a pyro card onto a hydro monster, it needs to do less damage. Let's see, what else? Build from the ground up to allow for perk cards to affect the base damage of dice. I.e. Pyro 7 dice plus 5% equals 8. Equals Pyro 8. Basically anything that's like more than +1, like anything that's plus 1% would round up to 8. So I do want to build it again, like from the ground up, so that I can actually have that apply, so that Jerry, so we can create your perk. Because then we also then want to come in here, and we're going to want to say, add perk. Jerry's Just Dice. Keep doing that. Add a card. Okay, so Jerry's Just Dice. Enhances the damage dealt when using dice by a percentage. Hey. That's gonna be the buff. Again, we then need a debuff, and I'll have to figure out exactly what we're gonna do there. Yeah, like, it could be anything, honestly. Like, it could be anything along the lines of, it reduces your elemental damage, so, like, basically, when you have this applied, you are doing more damage with the dice, but you'll be doing less damage with the cards or something. I'm like, we could do Jerry's Just Dice. How about Jerry's Gemstone Dice plus damage minus Jerry slept with your mom? It's a psychological negative. There we go. There we go. Okay. The other thing to consider too is, like, I'm trying to decide if I'm going to refer to them like in the game as dice, or if I'm going to refer to them as like runes. So maybe like Jerry's Just Runes. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out exactly. Because I know that eventually I'm going to have to, like, you know, make tutorials and things like that. And, like, I'm trying to avoid calling them just dice. So I'm kind of thinking about calling them like elemental runes. Gemstones, we could do gemstones. The reason why I thought runes is more of just like, it's a very simple, quick word. Jerry's Gemstones. That kind of rolls off the tongue. I don't know. We'll figure that one out exactly later. I'll be here for a while. That's fair, Cameron. That's fair. Stay inside. Stay inside where it's safe. I kind of like Jerry's Gemstones. I like how it rolls off the tongue. But I also kind of like the idea of calling them runes, not gemstones. I feel like gemstones should look a little bit more, I don't know, shiny, more gemmy.
Cameron Reap says, "Happy Father's Day, Moon."
I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Cameron. Thank you. Yeah, it was a good Father's Day. It was a good Father's Day. Oh no. What do we got, Jerry? What are we thinking? What are we cooking up? You do like Jerry's Rune Enhancer. Jerry's Rune. Jerry's Gigantic Runes. Jerry's Rune Giganticizer. Jerry's... Jerry ruins everything. I like that. Jerry ruins everything. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Yeah. So a buff enhances the damage dealt when using dice by say something like by like 10% or something. Then debuff, reduce all card elemental damage by like 5%. Yeah. I think 5% would be fine. The lower numbers, it's really just reducing it by like one damage. Cause that way, like it's kind of a trade-off, right? Where it's like, is it stackable? So you can't get multiple of a perk card. So once you get, you know, Jerry's, whatever we're gonna call it, once you get that, like that's the only one you can get. You can only get one of those. But there will be other perks, like perk cards, that can be stackable. So I'm probably gonna make some other perk, you know, titled something else, that may be something like, you know, enhances pyro dice, like enhances damage dealt by pyro dice by 25% or something. So that way, like specifically your pyro dice are going to do 25% more. And then say, for example, but it reduces your hydro, your hydro elemental damage dealt by cards by 25% or something. So that's why I'm also kind of thinking about, like, maybe it's like a one-off kind of a thing, right? So instead of like affecting all of the dice, we could do like just the 10% across the board, right? We could just say reduces, yeah, so enhances the damage dealt when using dice by 10%, and then reduces the card elements by 5%. But then when it's the one-off, so when it's like it's increasing the pyro dice by 25%, which then reduces pyro damage dealt by 25%. But you could stack it. So you would have a plus 10% from this, and then you would have a plus 25% from the other perk card. And then you've got like Axel's Wheel of Cheese that's re-increasing the damage of the cards by like the 10% that it is or whatever. So the effects are stackable, the perk cards are not, if that makes sense. So there are overlapping buffs and debuffs. The perk cards themselves, it's just one and done kind of a thing. Yeah, I like that, and we can revisit it too a little bit too if we, you know, if a better name comes up, or if you want to change the stats of it at all, let me know and we can absolutely do that. But before we can do that, we would definitely have to make it so you can actually use the dice. So let's do that. I think that should be a pretty quick one. Now that I've said that, now I've cursed myself. Okay, so this is when you release. So let's just say bag slot 1-1, bag slot 1-2. Come down here. Current room item 1. This is if you are dropping something in the room. I'll workshop the perk and get back to you. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Anything you want to change, and like I'm not saying that it's set in stone even once I get in the game. Like if I get in the game and you're like, I kind of want to change the name. In general, it's pretty quick to change the name. Some of these stats, like some of the buffs and debuffs, might be a little bit tricky to like change up. But honestly, at the end of the day, if anybody that currently has a buff in here, and if you're ever like, you know what, this is actually not exactly how I want to have this, feel free to let me know and I can make that change. Kind of thinking about overwriting this completely. Just like having this be its thing right here and not touching it. And just letting it be, you know? I think I'm gonna do that, actually. I think I'm gonna do that. Dice interactivities, yes. So let's come in here and we're just gonna say conditional branch. And let's get the X and the Y. So you drag and drop, and you are within the POV window at all. You say 272 and 8. 272 and 8. 1008, 356. 1008, 356. Okay. And then, if game variables dot value as 96 is greater than or equal to 96 is we wanted current room monster 94, so close. The current room monster is greater than or equal to 1, which means there is a monster spawned in the room. If there's a monster in the room, we're gonna call this one using runes to attack monster. We can take all of this, all of that actually. We're gonna move picture 199. I think that was just, oh, it is 199. All right. So move picture 199. I want to like center you in the screen a little bit. Kind of go here-ish. 640 by 250. 640 by 248. 640 by 248. Move there in 5 frames.
Axel_Benedict says, Axel_Benedict is first in the hearts of those who know.
It's true. Always the first. Always the first, Axel. Welcome, Axel. Welcome. Glad you're here. Hopefully things went well for you. I'm assuming you at work. I'm guessing. Hopefully things went well for you, though. What have you been up to today? Also, I don't know if you got the message from Loki yet, but you are the proud new owner of another free Steam key. So there we go. Happy days. Happy days there. Okay, so it waits for 5 frames. And then we're going to want to... we do... Oh, man. Yeah, what are we going to do here? We got the monster bust. I don't want to utilize this. Kind of. Play it out. No work, but I was busy eating and playing Lego Batman. It's fair. That is very valid. I won? It's true, you did. You did win this free Steam key tonight. Beautiful stuff. Absolutely beautiful. So, end of coin of axiom. So that's not going to take into consideration. We don't want to remove the monster cards at all. Vitality skill, grit and bear it. If HP is below, do more damage. We don't want to take that into consideration either. We don't want to be doing more damage just because you're lower health. So, we've got attack monster. I guess we'll hit the picture. We don't need to move picture. We want to do elemental damage. Hard to move. We don't need to do any of that. None of that. None of that. Nothing to do with blackjack either. Okay. So, let's come back over here. Page 3. Up to label. Okay, so we're going to move there. And as soon as that happens, I want to do this. I want to tint the monster, flash them red if they got hit. Move picture, we don't need to do that. Then do elemental damage. I'm gonna set you to be else. Then I just this is gonna be really risky. This is a lot to cut, but we're gonna cut it and paste it. Ooh, that's a lot of code. Okay, so that is that. We move the picture to where the monster is. we wait for 5 frames, flash the monster. Then we are going to move picture 199, be like 120, kind of like expands, make it look like it's exploding or something. Wait for 5 frames, and we don't need to show. Wait, tint you down to 0% opacity. Wait for 5 frames. And then erase the picture. And move picture 7. I don't know what picture 7 is. I don't know. I think we can get rid of it. 7. Because this must be specifically... Oh, right. Right. So yeah, so picture 7 is the slot itself. So yeah, so we can get rid of that. Okay, so yeah, so just moves the dice, waits for 5 frames, flashes the monster, and then this is where this is gonna be the more complicated part right here. So we don't want to check to see if the card itself. I pick up a dice. Go to F9. Check and see. Dice. Dice picked up 1. Slot picked up 6. Okay, so it's equal to a 1. We want 18. And then dice type picked up is type 3. Okay, so we are tracking the value of the dice, the type of the dice, and then the slot that it was picked up. We don't need to worry about the slot. The slot is fine. We just need the value and the type. That's 18 and 20. Okay. 20 is the type. That means if we come in here, so if... Instead of saying if this picture is this thing, we just want to say... if game variables dot value, spell variables correctly, game variables dot value 20, that's 30, 20 is equal to 1. This means it is a pyro card. Else if 20 is equal to 2, means it's Geo. This means it is Hydro. Last but not least, this means it is Necro. Okay, there's Pyro, Geo, Hydro, and Necro. Save that. I know it wasn't that much work, but I don't want to lose it. No message, though. Loki, we gotta get that message. I'm sure Loki will send you a message. If not, though, let me know. Let me know. If you're equal to 1, that means you're pyro. Give variables dot set value. Set 67. What is 67? Aside from being 6-7. 67 is the monster's HP. Okay, yes, that is correct. Saying set the monster's HP to equal monster's HP minus 664. What is 664? 664 is perk pyro damage percentage. Okay. Do we want to take into consideration any of like the perks for upgrading pyro? So I think we want to say Now I'm like at a crossroad. I kind of want to say... Yeah, I think we're going to say this perk is going to be the Pyro card damage, Geo card damage, Hydro card damage, Necro card damage. The prerequisites. I don't think we need any of these prerequisites. I'm just going to check on that. So that's 681. We come in here and we say, just grab you. Come over here to variable 681. Down here, 681. Prerequisites are all at 0. Okay, cool. I don't think we're using the prerequisites at all anymore. I hope. Okay. Yeah. Cool. So, we then want to say perk Pyro rune damage percentage. Have Geo rune damage. Hydro rune damage. Last but not least, Necro rune damage. Okay. 679. So that means we'll say if that do damage, so set the monster's health to be monster's health minus, we'll say 679 greater than or equal to 0. Round up. If you're greater than 0, round up. Be 1061 plus 664. What is 1061? 1061 is the elemental damage you have. So we actually want to say set this to be equal to variable 18, right? That was the value of the card you're holding. 18 is dice picked up. Yeah, dice picked up, slot picked up, and then dice type picked up. We want to grab from 18. 18 is the dice itself. If you are holding a pyro dice, then we say minus a monster's health. And so then if you have the perk that is greater than 0%, so we could also have perks reduce the amount of pyro damage you're doing. We're just saying, so long as you are greater than 0, which means you are adding to this pyro damage for the dice, for the runes, then we just say round up variable 18 plus 664. 664, I believe it needs to be 679, correct? 664 is the pyro card damage. Okay, so 664 is 679. Okay, here 18 plus 664 is 679 divided by 100, because this is going to be a percentage, or round down. 1061 is 18 plus 664 is now 667. No, 679. Is that what it was? The pyro dice, the pyro rune damage. So yeah, so 679 divided by 100 times 64. Now 64, that is the blackjack damage, right? Which we do not need. We do not need to multiply based on blackjack damage. So let's take all of that out. Any of this times 64 we can get rid of, because this does not, blackjack does not apply to this. Okay. Cool. So we then basically just need to do that for the other 3 lines. This is if you have a geodice, then do the variable 67 equals 67 minus 679 is going to be 680. Of 680, there was a spider on my microphone. It's just my pop filter that's getting all destroyed. So 680 and 681, 682. You're greater than or equal to 0. Then round down. We're going to do again 18, 18, 18, because that's just the value of the dice you are currently holding. It doesn't matter what element it is, it's just the value of that dice. Plus 679 is then 680, 681, 682, divided by 100, because it's, you know, percentage. But then else, if it is less than, we want to round down. So math floor, we're going to do again 18, 18, 18, plus 680, 681, and 682, divided by 100. Okay, I'm going to save that, so I don't want to lose that. Okay, so that should be the do elemental rune damage. Not rune, rune. Moves the picture, waits for 5 frames, erases the picture, and then jumps to label N. Okay. Let's see what the freak happens there. Let's see. All right, so if I try to put a dice down in here, puts it down. Everything's fine. If I come into combat, he's got 10 health. He's an Iron Sentinel. If I grab this dice and I try to put it in here, oh, it did 1 damage. What about a 2? Oh, but wait, there's more. What if it's a 3? Yes! Okay, all right. That is what we like to see. Okay, so obviously, you would not want to merge your dice together, right? Because if you have a 1-to-1, well, okay, the 1-to-1, you're fine with that. 1-to-1, there you go, it becomes a 2, well, bam. But if you had a 2 and a 2 and it becomes a 3, you could have just done 4 damage if you did it individually. Yeah. So I think at this point, you wouldn't want to use your higher level dice because it doesn't make sense. Like, logically, you wouldn't want to use the ones that you've merged together a bunch of times because then you're just losing out on potential upgrade options for your spells. So this literally should just be used for if you're in a pinch. Get in here, do a damage. Okay, I forgot about that one. Okay, that should be easy enough, though. That one's easy enough, because over here we have Dead Monster. Yeah. So if you're on Dead Monster, that's switch 15. Actually, we should actually have already a check over here. So we're doing, this is the Monster Bust. If we come down here, if Monster's HP is less than or equal to 0, turn on Dead Monster. We should be able to copy that, come over here, and we'll just say, I guess right here, right before it jumps to end, turn on Dead Monster, jump to end, do all of that stuff, and then do that stuff. That should work. Now, if we say increases all elemental damage by 5%, let's add this, because I just want to make sure that it's not actually adding to the dice damage. Also, just double checking, I can still put dice down, I can pick them up, everything's still fine there. All right, we got the glob, just a regular default glob, no elements to them at all. So if we were to say take a 2, it should go bam. It should do that, bam. It'll do that, bam. Do that, bam. Now, if we do this, it should It actually ends combat. Yes! Oh, that feels good. That feels good to be alive, everybody. It feels good to be alive. That makes me really happy. Let's see, Jerry says, what about treating the dice the same way as your elemental damage? So Jerry's Pyro Rune would do 50 to 100% more damage for Pyro dice and half the damage of another dice that gets thrown. Or there would be a Pyro Rune, a Necrotic Gem, a Hypnotic, Hydro, etc. Each perk boosts one of and reduces others. Yes, absolutely. I am 100% on board for that. Because that's kind of what I was thinking, honestly, is instead of it just being a blanket across the board, hey, this thing, this perk is going to increase all dice damage, I do kind of think maybe doing something like that, where you've got Jerry's Pyro Runes. Yeah, so essentially it would be more specific in being like this specific perk is going to increase the rune damage, like a Pyro Rune damage, by 5% or something. Which actually we should be able to come in here and artificially simulate. We come down here to the 600s in variables. We go to, say for example, if we increase the Pyro Rune damage, let's just make that a 25% increase. So we should be able to come in here and grab this 2. It shouldn't do 2 damage. This should be able to do, I don't know, what's 2 plus 25%? Like, it should round up to 3. I'll just say that. So 2, we drop it on there. It should drop down to 7 health. It does indeed, everybody. Which means this should go from a 1 to a 2, which it does. Which means you could potentially, depending on the perks that you have, if you have perks that are increasing your dice damage, you could potentially make it worth it to use the higher level dice, because the percentage boosts could make it a lot better to actually use them. Because if you are taking a, say for example, a 1, and you only are increasing it by 25%, it's going to go from a 1 to a 2. That only did 1 damage. Oh! Because I only increased the Pyro damage. I was like, I broke it! But no. So if we, whoops, open the console. We open up the here, and if we do, okay, you're going to be, 100% more damage on Geo runes, so we should be able to take a 2, and that should do a 4 damage. What? Shouldn't that have done? If I'm doing Geo damage plus 100%, and I did a 2, that should do 4 damage. It's doubling the 2. Right? 2 plus 100% is 4. I'm gonna have to double check on that. We'll have to check on that. Anyway, yeah, so I do like that idea though, in like having, and honestly we could have like more, because like I want to have more of the perks, right? I want to have as many perk cards as possible. So, yeah, so I'm kind of thinking if we do break them up. Yeah, so Jerry's Pyro Rune, more damage to Pyro dice and half the damage to another dice that gets thrown. So there could be a Pyro Rune, a Necrotic Gem. Yeah, so like Jerry's Necrotic Gem, Jerry's Hypnotic Hydro, like so on and so forth. Yes. Then you could technically stack those as well. So let's say, for example, if you have one that is adding, 50% damage to Pyro, but then, reducing the Geo damage by 25%. But then you could get another one that's increasing your Geo damage by 50% and then decreasing. Like if you got all 4 of them, it would technically be canceling each other out and just increasing all damage by 25%. So you could have that. If you collect all of them, then they transform into Jerry's Gauntlet, which doubles all the damage. See, there you go. Look, you are 2 steps ahead of me already. And Lieutenant Wheels, hello, welcome. Glad to see you here. Hello, how is it going? Dazu, it is going absolutely fantastic. How you doing? How's life? So when adding 10% wouldn't be enough, maybe it does 50% or, I mean, I think I like the idea of where you're going with this. Because here's the other thing with the perks. I want the perks to be big, powerful things that when you die, they're gone. Kind of a thing, right? I want them to be something like if the player ever gets a perk, they're like, I want this thing so badly, I do not want to lose it. They're going to really make sure they don't die. Or they're going to regret having to leave the tomb because then they have to leave behind all the perks. So I want the perks to be big. So I am kind of thinking we do 50% damage to the attacks with a 25% decrease to the attacks to like an opposing. So like, you know, Pyro would increase by 50%, but your Hydro would decrease by 25%. Your Geo would increase by 50%, but your Necro would decrease by 50%, or like 25%, that kind of a thing, right? Yeah. Or even double if they would only be using lower dice, because as the monsters get stronger, 1 point becomes pointless, becomes less important. That is true. That is a great point. Which is where it will kind of come down to. It's like when you only have a 1, I don't want the monster's health to ever get too crazy out of hand. But it will get to the point where, yeah, they are like a little bit less. But that also then begs the question, do I add more skills to the skill tree to be able to level up? Because there is space in every single one of these skill trees. I could add another skill across the board for all of these, where you can essentially increase your Pyro rune damage by 2% or something like that across the board. So that way you would have a permanent increase to your rune damage just based off of the skill tree. Yeah, because you can increase Pyro, Geo, Hydro, and Necro across the board. I think I might actually do that. I might do that. Resistance lowered the 4 damage. There shouldn't be resistance because the glob is just a base glob, so they shouldn't have any resistance. But I could check on that. That is still weird that it's that it reduced the damage. That it only did 3 damage instead of 4. Not quite sure what's going on there. Oh, let's see. Over on YouTube, we got Nix. Hello, Nix. Welcome. Nix burps loudly. Quick question: have you considered pitching your game to an indie publisher? I have not. Mostly because I would worry. I would worry about pitching it to a publisher because I would worry about. I know it sounds stupid, but like I would worry about deadlines because like unless I could run like a successful Kickstarter or something. Oh my goodness.
Welcome Oridont and your 18 amazing audience members.
Ori, welcome. Thank you so much for that raid. I appreciate that. Welcome. Come on in, everybody. Come on in. How did your stream go, Ori? Hopefully everything went well for you. Let's see. Zanabaro says, Ori invasion incoming. That's true. It is upon us. It is upon us. The invasion is here. Oh, you got here before it actually started. So technically you are correct when you were saying the invasion is incoming. And I appreciate the heads up. So thank you for that. Let's see here. Moonchi Paskier says, Ori invasion incoming. Ori says, Ori invasion incoming. And I do appreciate that, Ori. So thank you so much. Hopefully I had an absolutely fantastic stream. Really quickly, before I continue with any of the chat messages, I just want to say, if you need to raid and run, no worries at all. And this applies to both you, Ori, and to any of the raiders as well. I know that after a long stream, sometimes you got stuff to take care of. You gotta go eat, you gotta go sleep, you gotta go drink some water, whatever it is you gotta do. No worries at all if you gotta raid and run. So yeah. Totally understandable if you do, but I do appreciate the raid, so thank you so much for that. I do appreciate that. For anybody new here, first of all, I appreciate you being here. Welcome in. Really quickly, my name is Moonwood Games. I am working on a retro style dungeon crawling roguelike RPG where the combat is blackjack. So yeah, we're making some progress. We are working tonight on our perk card system. So essentially, the way that it works, again, like I said, it is a roguelike, and so you are expected to die. Like, you're not expected to be able to make it all the way through in one go. So the perk card system is to add some variety to each of the runs you go on. So each one of these perk cards that you equip will have some kind of buff and debuff. So kind of think of like the runes in Slay the Spire, right? Where like you equip these things and you have them with you for that run. Yeah, so with these ones, so each one of them is going to have some kind of buff and debuff. So like, say for example, with Griffin's Potion of Power, it increases your maximum HP by 50%, but your pyro damage is reduced by 5%. Or the Coin of Axiomith, that one's a little bit actually weird to describe. This one right here, Nyx's Hat of Divine Wisdom, you will gain 5% more experience, but your geo damage is reduced by 5%. So it's that kind of stuff, and anything and everything in between. Mathra's Ale-Soaked Gauntlets, Blackjacks will do 3x damage, so normally if you get a Blackjack in combat, you will do 2x damage, but with this, you will do 3x damage. But you also have a 2% chance of drawing 2 cards when you're drawing your cards. Yeah. So that's kind of what we're working on tonight. But as we were working on them, we had some great suggestions from our very own Jerry about a potential idea to add to our combat system. So in this game, just really quick elevator pitch, you are playing as a bounty hunting adventurer who is venturing into what is now known as the Tomb of Vercilias. Vercilias was the king's right-hand mage, but started dabbling into the dark magics, and the king found out, was not a fan of that, so he ordered for the arrest of Vercilias. Vercilias found out about that, and he was not a fan about that, and so he put a curse on his wizard's tower to have it ever be like shifting and changing to create this like unnavigable labyrinth, which worked great. No one has been able to get to Vercilias to arrest him and bring him to the king, but people have also never seen Vercilias come out of his tower, and so everyone just kind of like assumes that Vercilias is probably dead in his tower. It's been months or years, however long it's been, and so everyone's just like, well, this is no longer the Tower of Vercilias, this is now the Tomb of Vercilias, because everyone's just like, yeah, he probably just died in there because he lost his way in his own tower. And yeah, the king's like, no, I truly believe that Vercilias is probably, he's got to still be in there, getting stronger, and so I want him dead or alive. Doesn't matter, even if he's dead, I want to see him and confirm that. So he's put a bounty on the head of Vercilias, and so you, along with many other adventurers, are venturing into the Tomb of Vercilias to hopefully navigate this unnavigable labyrinth, and hopefully be able to bring Vercilias out dead or alive and get your reward. So again, like I said, the combat is Blackjack, and so basically the idea is you're playing Blackjack against monsters to be able to do damage to them. And yeah, the cards themselves, I've kind of replaced like the hearts, clubs, diamonds, that kind of thing, with different elements. So instead of having the actual face card normal C's there, they are linked to your elements. You got Pyro, Geo, Hydro, and Necro, and then you'll be able to upgrade those with these magical D20 runes here. And so there's a spell book you'll be able to access, and if you put like say for example, if you put a Pyro D20 into the Pyro slot, if you put this number 2, it would then be doing 2 damage. I mean, right now it's doing 0 because I took this one that reduces my Pyro damage. But if I were to say, for example, take this Geo dice, so instead of doing 1 damage, I would then be doing 2 damage. But you can also merge these dice together to then create stronger dice. So if you take a 1 and a 1, it makes a 2, a 2 and a 2, it makes a 3, 3 and a 3 makes a 4, so on and so forth. So you can upgrade these runes as you find them, as you travel throughout the tomb. As you kill monsters, you'll be able to get more runes, and then you'll be able to then upgrade your spell book later to be able to do more damage. But with all of that being said about the runes, an absolutely fantastic idea came up, which is, what if you were to use these runes to be able to do like one-time damage to the monsters? So say, for example, if you're in a really tight spot, maybe you've got 1 HP left and you're like, I don't want to risk my 18, because who knows, he might get a 19, or he might get a 20, or a 21. Like, something could happen that would cause me to lose and die. Instead, maybe you'll sacrifice some of your dice to be like, okay, I'm just going to take this guy out. I'm just going to use this Pyro rune, and I'm just going to do damage to him. There we go. Does damage, does damage, does damage, so on and so forth, until eventually he's gone, and then battle ends. And look at that, he dropped a level 2 Necro rune. So yeah, you're good to go there. So that is the new system that we're currently testing, trying to get working, so on and so forth. And yeah, so that's the game. If it seems like something that you'd be interested, there is a listing on Steam right now. So it's Tomb of Vercilias. I believe if we do, I think it's Wishlist. Is that the one? Yes. There's a link. There's a link if you would like to go and wishlist on Steam. I'm trying to get a playable demo out before the end of summer. So hopefully in the next month or two, I want to get a playable demo out And then the full release will probably be sometime next year, where there's going to be the whole storyline quest. There's going to be like a whole town with NPCs and all sorts of fun stuff. So the demo itself will just be a free playable demo that will just be within the tomb. So you're fighting the monsters, collecting the dice, upgrading your character, and then whenever you die, and then you start again and you try and get further next time. So anyway, that's what's kind of going on here. So yeah. All right, let's see here. Jerry says, I think they should be called Jerry's Necrotic Gem, Jerry's Pyro Rune, etc. But when they combine, getting all 5 would be difficult. They are called the Moon Gauntlet, and the Gauntlet ups the damage by to 50% to everything. That would I do like that. I do like that. It would take a little bit more to try and figure out how I would have it all combine, but I could get it figured out. I could get it figured out. Let's see. Ori says hi, and Xanabaru says I am faster. Let's see. Ray Nest Falling says hi, hello, welcome, glad to see you here. Ori says hi, and thanks so much. Thank you. I may be in and out, a bit hungry, but I'm excited to hear more about the Blackjack roguelike. I appreciate it, Ori. Yeah, no worries. Go get yourself some food. Absolutely. Read that demo release as after GTA 6. No, absolutely not. It will not be out after GTA 7. Absolutely not. This is going to be out before GTA 6. I promise. Not the full release, but the demo. The demo definitely will be. Anyway, cool. There we go. Yes. So again, kind of trying to figure this out. So I know, Jerry, you had mentioned that maybe it was the resistance. There shouldn't be any resistance on these guys, because these guys have, again, like, yeah, they've got 0 resistance. So, don't know why it wouldn't have done 100% damage. Come down here. Let's just go like with the necro runes. Let's put you up to 100% damage. This should do 2 damage. It does. This should do 4 damage. It does not. But what if, let's do one of the Hydra rune. What if I put you to 101? Now you're doing 4 damage. Interesting. Yeah, I have no idea. Not a clue. Very interesting, very bizarre. I don't know why that wouldn't be working. Anyway, Nick, to answer your question, though, have I considered pitching to an indie publisher? I worry about a couple things. So one, I worry about deadlines. I do worry about them being like, you know, obviously, like, it would be absolutely fantastic. They're like, we love the game. We'll help you publish it. I would worry about a deadline, though. If they were like, this has to be done by X date, I would be a little bit like, I feel like the only way I would actually be able to focus enough to get this thing out in a decent amount of time is if I were to run some kind of like Kickstarter and had to be like some crazy successful Kickstarter where I got like 200K or something like that, and I'd be like, okay, cool. That means I can focus 100% of my time on just doing game dev for the next 2 years, right? Obviously, I wouldn't need the 2 years, because if I could focus on it 24/7, then I could actually pump it out a lot faster. But I would kind of just be like, well, I would need some kind of, because I've got a wife, I've got a kid. I'm like, I couldn't really quit my job unless I had enough of a buffer to be like, okay, I can get this game out and then released and have it start selling to see what actually happens, kind of a thing, you know? Because if it doesn't do well, if it's like, oh, cool, I sell 12 copies, great. Now I gotta go find a new job. It might be a little bit difficult when I have that big of a block on my resume of like, oh, what were you doing for the past year and a half? I'm like, well, I made an unsuccessful indie game. So unless I could have some kind of like a buffer, so I'd either have to, one, have a publisher that's like, we will pay you X amount of dollars up front, which like I feel like most indie publishers are not going to be like, here's a 100K advance kind of a thing, you know? So I would probably have to like do like some kind of a Kickstarter to be able to do something like that. So, but unless I was able to do that, I'm like, I work full time. Again, I've got a family, I've got a wife and a kid. And so I'm like, I spend time with them. And so I'm like, honestly, the amount of time that I have to work on it is somewhat limited. And so, yeah. Anyway, so I would worry about that, because I would worry about deadlines. I would also worry about potentially like them changing things and setting demands, having wants. I just kind of be like, I kind of want to make the game that I want to make. Sorry. It would also be potentially problematic if they were like, hey, we want you to be able to do X, Y, or Z. We want you to make this thing multiplayer. We want you to make this thing whatever it may be for us to accept you. And I'd be like, well, I can't. So sorry. Sorry about that. So that's kind of like the things that I do worry about. But I mean, maybe it could be a good thing. Maybe. So I haven't looked into it. But maybe all my worries shouldn't actually be worried. Let's see, Robert on a whim. First of all, welcome. Glad to see you here. I'm glad that I got your name worked out. It says, yo, what's been the biggest challenge so far? I would say probably the biggest challenge that I have faced so far is the random generation of the map. Getting that to work has been quite a problem. And I have it working about 95% of the time. But yeah, so I have it, so it's random generation every single time. Some of them look cooler than others. It's like that one looked kind of lame. Let's see, this one looks okay. It's kind of interesting enough. And also just keep in mind, there will be fog of war. Like, you will not just start with a fully explored map knowing exactly where to go. You will have to explore it as you go along. But I just have it not hide it just for my own testing sake. So I can like actually go in and be like, okay, where is this thing? Where am I going? But yeah, I would say probably the random map generation has been probably the most challenging. Because not only, and again, and I only have it working about 98% of the time, there is still like a 2% chance that it will spawn a map that is, you literally cannot finish. Because it will sometimes, again, very rarely, and I made some changes and I thought that I had fixed it. I think it's probably now in like 1 in every 100 times that it generates, where it will have a completely separated spot from the rest of the floor. So like you'll have most of the floor on one side, and you'll have a few rooms that show up just randomly at the bottom, and somehow you spawn in that area where you cannot explore, or the exit spawns in that spot, and then all of a sudden you can't. So again, like I did make a change recently that did fix most of that, but there is still a few issues in the random generation of the floor. So I would say that's probably the biggest challenge that I've faced. In the game, not in life. I was hoping you weren't meaning life, because if we were talking about that, I'd be like, ooh, let me get started. Let me start here in my old age of 34 years old. Let me tell you. Make a skill that lets you pee on the monster, but you have to eat or drink magic foods beforehand. Oh, should we have a oh my gosh, what is that vegetable? I keep wanting to say celery. It's not celery. It's the green thing with like the asparagus. Should we have an asparagus perk that makes your pee awful, and then when you pee on a monster, it damages them? There we go. This game will be the most realistic thing since GTA 5. I would say 6, but it's not out yet. Magic pits. Maybe. So yeah, Nick says, from what I've seen, doing a bit of a browse, the big thing they need is a vertical slice. Pitching also doesn't mean a deal is made. That's something I've been looking into, wondering your input. Gotcha. Well, I mean, I will have a vertical slice, which is the demo here pretty soon, so maybe I could, once I have the demo done, I could start pitching it to a few different indie publishers and just be like, hey, this is what I got. What do you think? So we'll see. For no reason at all, where did the name for Nick's hat come from? I think it was a different Nick. Yes, it was a different Nick.
Says, major publishers are all vampires.
Exactly. I think it was a different Nick. I'm pretty sure. Nah. I know that now I can't remember. I swear. Let's see. Who is it? Who is it? It would be. It's Chemist Eye Nick. That's who it was. It's Chemist Eye Nick. That's who it was. Yeah. So Chemist Eye Nick is who's this hat is based off. That's right. That's right. I had to remember. I had to remember for a second there. Let's see here. Zanabaro says, what are the numbers at the top of the... What the...
polymorphed moon man into a chicken.
Hello, I'm a polymorph chicken. Bok, bok, bok. Bok, bok, bokkity, bok, bok, bok. Yeah, what are the numbers at the top of the dungeon screen? Yes, that is a great question. So, the numbers up here, they will disappear after the testing is all done. So these are just to help me. So this middle number is my current room location. So I'm currently in room 1, so room ID 1. And then if I move up, I'm now in room 7. I mean, they disappeared because I'm now fighting a tusk rat. But yeah, so basically the idea is, let me take this guy out. The idea is I can be able to trace what room ID I am in. The 57 over here is where, I believe this is where, now I can't remember. I think 57 is where the exit is. No, that wouldn't make sense. So this one right here, 57, is where the void stone is. So on each floor, there is a deactivated void portal, which allows you to move to the next floor. And so to be able to activate that void portal, you have to find a void stone. So it kind of requires you to like explore a little bit more, but technically once you find the void stone, you can then just find the void portal and you can leave. So you don't have to 100% the floor at all. Like you can just kind of go until you get to that point and then you can leave if you want. So yeah, so that's what that is. And then the 44 is where the exit room is. It just kind of helps me kind of know like what direction I should go when I need to find the void stone and when I need to find the exit. So that's all that is. I'll eventually be getting rid of it. So, yeah. That's a great question though. That is an absolutely fantastic question. Let's see here. And it happens when you have a 2. What about a 3? Maybe it's only doubling 1 point of damage, but not both. If there isn't something deducting from it, it has to something just, yeah, it's not adding up correctly. Are you turning it into a 100% or doubling the whole part of the formula? You'll be fine, dude. Don't worry. I'll buy a copy. I appreciate that, Jerry. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, in terms of the actual code itself, let's take a quick look. So here's what it's actually doing. So let's say, for example, if we are doing, excuse me, if we are doing pyro damage. So this is if you have picked up a pyro dice. Actually, let me just do this. This makes it so much easier to read. Okay. This is the code we've got. Do elemental rune damage. So, if you have picked up a dice that has an ID of 1, which is a pyro, so that's a pyro, geo, hydro, necro. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you have done that, then we're saying set variable 67 is the monster's health. Set the monster's health equal monster's health minus, and then we say minus variable 670. No. So minus, and then this is basically a secondary if statement in. It's a secondary if statement inside the. I can't think of what it would be called. The action, the JavaScript action, or whatever it is. They were basically just saying if variable 679, which is the modifier. So if the pyro damage percentage is greater than or equal to 0. We're basically just saying if you are a positive integer, then we're saying round up variable 18 plus the damage multiplier, the damage modifier divided by 100. Say, for example, if this is equal to, well, if this is equal to 100, so we're saying, So we're saying set the health to be 18. So this would be the value of the dice you're holding. Let's say, for example, so we're saying round up 1 damage. So if you picked up a D1, so 1 damage plus the modifier, 679 is the modifier. So I was setting those to be equal to 100. So we're saying 100 divided by 100. Would that be correct? Because this is at its own thing right here. So 100 divided by 100. Would that be right? Yeah, 100 divided by 100 is 1. But, okay, all right. We need to multiply then? We don't want to add, we want to multiply. We would say, so let's say, for example, if we picked up a, yeah, that would be y. That would be y. So if we're picking up a 2, which is what, so if this is equal to a 2, if this variable equals 2, then we're saying literally just plus 1. Okay. So at this point we would say 2. But even if we said times, it would still just be times 1. I have this wrong then. This needs to be the base value of the dice plus then we want to, yes, we want to add the base value of the dice again. And yeah, what would that equation be? We would want, let's say for example, if we picked up a, so we were going to be doing, so it's the damage percentage is plus, let's just say, we're going to keep it simple like we've been doing, so plus 100. We're saying plus 100%. But we're dealing in whole numbers, right? Because RPG Maker does not do fractions. It doesn't do any of that. You can't do really percentages either. So we're having to manually convert this number into a percentage. So let's just say our damage percentage is adding 100, which would just be 100%, right? So it's increasing it, so it's literally doubling the damage. So if we've picked up a 2, so we're doing 2 damage, then we would want to say plus like obviously I can say like, oh, we want to do plus 100%, but it's like, again, unless there's a way to do JavaScript convert number to percentage, do that. Convert a number to a percentage string in JavaScript. Use the intl.numberFormat API for a clean localized solution, or use basic math like math.round for a quick custom calculation. Okay, so math round, so it's value divided by total times 100. Oh, let's see here. Yeah, major publishers are all vampires. I would also worry about that. It's just like, I don't know, having to have someone take a cut. See, Thetra00 says, Bach morning. Bach morning to you as well. Bach morning. Hopefully you had an absolutely fantastic weekend. Gary says, I know this would be crazy to do some. I'm not actually suggesting it, but what the
man into a chicken.
Hello, I'm a chicken. Bok bok bok. Bok bok bokity bok bok bok. Thank you. Let's see here. Oops, that's not what I want. There we go. Nope, that's not what I want. There we go. Okay, so I know this would be crazy to do some, so I'm not actually suggesting it, but how cool would it be if you could have monsters chase you while you roam? Like a tax collector monster that charges you per hand until you beat it, a jester that slowly replaces your cards with jokers, they turn back when a battle is over, or an rival that has their own perks. Yeah, it would be very cool. And a long while ago, looked into potentially doing that. So the idea was not necessarily, so it kind of was with like boss monsters. What I wanted to do was I wanted to have I basically wanted to have it be where the floor's mini boss, like the floor guardian, you basically could not reach them. Like you couldn't actually open their door. It basically was determined on how many rooms you had explored, and once you had explored X amount of rooms, then it would disturb the floor guardian and they would start wandering. The only problem there is the way that I've set up how the rooms actually handle information. It's not good. It's not very good. So as much as I would want to do it, it would be super cool. I just haven't built the rooms. I would have to basically rebuild how I handle the rooms from the ground up, which I could do. I've done that with a lot of the systems just to make them better. But I would have to rebuild from the ground up. But I do like the idea. I do like the idea. Wait, is that VS Code? Do Control A to select all, then Shift plus Alt plus F to reformat to the correct code format. We should be fine. That is a good hotkey to know. I had no idea. Yeah, I've always had to just come down here and just manually select JavaScript. That is good to know, though. Fun fact, calculator is more powerful than the computer that were used in the first moon landing. It's true. That is true. Did that not play? Oh, wait, there's a highlighted message. Not okay, never mind. Sorry, that's my bad. So something like this. So round up, variable 18 plus 18 times that variable percentage divided by 100. It's kind of what I was thinking. So I think I have that set up correctly in another spot, and I think that I didn't copy the right one that I've actually set up correctly. I actually think where I've copied from is not set up correctly, which is not a good thing. Yeah, so it does dice amount plus dice amount times percentage variable divided by 100. I'm pretty sure that should be how I need to set this up. Let's see here. Nick says, from what I've seen, doing a bit of browse. Okay, yeah, so we got that. Let's see, probably was unrelated, but I've put something in the art channel. I'm not sure if I showed it already. It's a video of the title and mini intro of the game I'm working on making a pitch for. It's an actual game, not some random sprites I made when I was bored. No, you're good, you're good. I am down. Let's go take a look. That pulled up. Was it recently in art that you posted it? Guess we'll find out. Let's see. Is it this one? Yeah, we are alone. We are alone. Oh, wait. Okay, first of all, we gotta take a look at this one. Oh, it's coming along. It is coming along. Yeah, look at that. Look at how many that is taking. That is beautiful stuff. I also really like the like it's obvious you're setting up the sprite sheet to make sure that like things can be reusable as much as possible. I love that. That is super cool. Yeah, that is fantastic. Thank you for sharing that, Dan. Whoops, I misframed. The character actually uses 27 tiles. The NPCs will get their own 64 tiles, and the remaining 128-ish tiles will be for enemies and bosses. Like it. I like it. Oh, let's see here. Not sure if I've shared this before. It's the big project that I'm working on. I mean, this doesn't look familiar, but let's play it and see what happens. All right, I like it. Ooh. Oh, that looks sick. Start. Wait. That is super cool looking. I like that. All right, so if you could just finish that, that'd be great, so I can come play it. That is amazing. That is super good. I like that, Nix. I like that. Very nice. Very nicely done. Beautiful stuff. Makes me think of Hide Lied. And love the high fidelity Atari style. And this is beautiful. This is absolutely beautiful. Yeah, very nicely done. I am very excited to see this finished. That is spooky. That is spooky looking. Another fun fact, Tetris Type A, the iconic theme song from that first appeared in the Game Boy version, is a Russian folk song. It's called Korobiniki, and it's about a merchant expressing his love to a girl. Kind of fun. I like that. I like a little bit of backstory to the songs. Okay, so basically, yeah, so that is what I missed. It is, yes, so it is plus this variable again. Because I kind of already have that one. Get rid of that. That plus that times variable that gets the percentage divided by 100. Would that just be... Let's say, for example, if this is a 2. So it's 2 plus 2 times... we would have 679, which would be the actual percentage itself. Let's say, for example, if that was set to 100%, then it would be 100 divided by 100, which would just be 1. So then we would be saying 2 times 1, which would be 1, and then plus. Is that right? That doesn't seem to be adding up. That's 2 plus, and then this would be 2 times 1. Yeah, so it goes dice amount plus dice amount times percentage variable divided by 1. The Shift Alt F was to help me see the code for that way. Oh. Shift Alt F. Shift Alt F. I don't know what it's doing. I don't think it's doing anything. That's it. Just close it with parentheses so it calculates first. Should be, yeah. Because this is in its own thing. And that's in its own thing. This should calculate first. Then it would calculate this. Yeah, so you've got... Yes, round up. Parentheses, variable, plus, and then its own new parentheses. That times. But I'm still... And maybe it's just because I'm late and I'm terrible at math. It's late and I'm terrible at math. And speaking, apparently. Because let's say, for example... Yeah, if this variable is 100, I mean, I don't think we're ever going to double it, so I don't think this would ever be set to 100. This would be what you're essentially upgrading with the perk. If you're 100, divided by 100 would be 1. So this would calculate first, right? Because you'd be a 1, because you're within parentheses here. I can even, I'll zoom in just a little bit more. Yeah, so this should run first. That would be 1. And then you would run next, so you would be 2 times 1. Never mind. It is late and I'm bad at math. That's, I had to go over that like 3 times before my brain was like, yes, it would be 2 times 1. It's late, okay? And I'm bad at math. Okay, all right. We should be good there. So basically all we need to do then is we just need to grab this same thing right here. And then we would do that. That. Actually, do you know what? Just for kicks and giggles. I have enough. Okay, wait. Where'd I go? There we go. Opens. I've got one too many. That would be why. Okay. You go over to there. There, you over to there. You close off that whole thing. Okay. Honestly, what we can do is we can just grab this, place that, and that. You're 681 and you're 682. Okay. Then over here, we need to do basically the exact same thing. We wanted to say you're going to be 18 plus game variables 18. And then time. Yeah. Times this guy. Okay. You're 680. $681, $682. Okay. That should all be correct. Should being the key word there. Let's find out. Let's find out together, everybody. Let us find out. All right. Grab the, let's grab the ring of security, I suppose. So, come down here. Actually, let me just make sure I'm catching up on chat. Okay. Let's see. That's it. Close the first parenthesis. Yes, that's right. It would be 2 plus 2 times 1. So let's go first. Fun fact 3: Carol of the Bells is a Ukrainian New Year folk song. New Year being start of spring, called Shrudrik. I'm sure I pronounced it perfectly. That is really cool, though. I like that too. Carol of the Bells is such a good song. Yeah, you have to select all, then hold shift plus. Oh, I see. That reformats the code, but don't worry, I saw what I needed. Translate to 2 plus 2 times 1. I got that eventually. I don't know why, but folk songs becoming part of culture again because they were reused is just hilarious to me. No, error. There you go. Too many parentheses. Nice. That plus that, I mean that times that. Wait. So what? So the last one that I got was incorrect? Okay, so it's 18 plus 18 times that. Is that right? I think you were correcting something that I already. Okay, okay. I got it. I was like, I'm pretty sure that you were correcting something that I already corrected, but I just wanted to make sure because, again, it is late. I'm just a backseat developer. Jerry, you are totally fine. No worries at all. Honestly, getting through that probably would have taken me a little bit longer than it should have, so I'm very glad that you were here. All right, so if we come over here, and we say, let's just say the necro damage is going to be 100%. Probably never ever going to be that high. Let's just make sure. So, at 100%, this should do 2 damage. Does. This should do 4 damage. Yeah, there we go. It's always nice when math actually works, right? But then, this should do 2 damage. Does. This should do 1 damage. Does. This should do 1 damage. Does. Cool. Then, if we come in here, oh, look at that. We pick the lock. Let's just test this, make sure it's still working. 3, 2, and 1. See? Okay, so all of those are incorrect. All of those are incorrect. Pretend that did not happen. We're gonna pretend that I did not just fail that lock. Okay, how? I mean, it happens. It happens. All right, so that means that, like, I got literally, like, the most unlucky. That was extremely unlucky. Extremely unlucky. Oh, man. I never thought that would happen. Okay, here we go. Let's give these a test. So if we then increase the, let's just say we increase the Geo rune damage to 100%, it should do the same thing. So if we do a 2, that should do a 4. That should do a 2. Okay. Now if we do the Pyro up to 100%, it was 1, 2, 4, 3. Yeah. Oh well. Oh well. You should do that. Go. Got him. Got him. Now, what if we set this down to 50%? You should just do 3 damage. Should. You do. Yes. Okay, good. Good, good. Oh. Not good. I get excited about my own code, and then now I hurt my shoulder. All right, so last thing that I want to test then is the Hydro, which I am out of Hydro dice. So let's just refresh that. Grab the Spike Pauldron. Here we've got a couple Hydro dice to choose from, so let's just do a little bit of this. Hydro, let's go up to 50%. Well, this will actually be a good test. So this should do 2 damage. It's rounding up because it is a positive damage. There we go. Now here's actually a question. If I then set this to be negative 10%, it should reduce this from a 2 to a 1. It does properly. Yes. Because we could now have perks that do negative rune damage, which will then make it so these 2s become 1s. These 2s become 1s. And I believe... Actually, this could be a potential issue. Oh, okay, we're gonna have to fix that one. Let's see here. It's an actual game, not some random sprites. It's sort of already exists in my itch. It's a much more primitive form. Thank you for the nice words. I also made the music for it and did some light voice acting. Well, honestly, Nix, that honestly turned out so great. I'm very excited to see it in its finished form. So yeah, feel free to share any and everything that you're doing on the project. I would love to see it. Excuse me. Smell you later, guys. I'm hopping off. Nix, I appreciate you being here. Hope you have an absolutely fantastic rest of your evening. And we will see you hopefully on the Tuesday stream. So good luck. Good luck. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Had an idea for a game where you play as a crow detective that solves murders. Please, someone get the wordplay here. A crow detective that solves murders. Well, I'm glad that someone does. Murder of crows. A group of crows is called a murder. That's terrifying. Why do we allow these things in our lives? Why are there crows we call murders? A murder? I mean, that would be pretty great. I'm not gonna lie. That is very punny. But I didn't get it. I did not get it. Okay, so... How am I gonna do that? Excuse me. If I do a 2, that should do a 1 damage. But the issue is doing Owls run the UK government, Parliament of Owls. Typical UK. We've got a couple options. We could either just say if the dice you've selected is a 1, group of ravens is called an unkindness. Flamboyance of flamingo. What is happening here? Who's naming all these things? That's just nuts. A seat of lapwings. Alright, whoever's naming these things, they gotta cool it. They're going crazy. Overboard. People with a sense of humor. I don't know about that. They got too much power, that's what it is. Too much power. So, yeah, so negative damage on a 1 is no bueno. So, we do a couple things. Either, 1, we could add a condition in here where if the dice you've selected is a 1, because I don't want to say you can't attack with a bouquet of pheasants, a raft of ducks. A group of baboons is sometimes called a congress. See, that would make sense. That would make sense. Saying if 679 is greater than or equal to 0, which means it is a positive integer. It means it's adding to it. Do that. Non-negative is a negative, making a 1-point die not count isn't the end of the world. It's a fair debuff, I think. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. Kind of like waste the dice. Well, the other thing I'm kind of thinking about doing, and this is where it'll kind of be like if the player has to like keep an eye on it, right? So essentially, here's what I'm kind of thinking about doing as well, because we used to have this in the game, and I want to re-implement it into the game, which is basically when you're in combat, the amount of damage you're going to do, I want it to show here on the HP bar. I wanted to show how much damage you're going to be doing and how much damage the monster is going to be doing if you or the monster attacks. So it just kind of lets you know, like, oh, I'm going to be doing, you know, so that way, like, the player doesn't have to manually calculate, right? You can, like, oh, I'm going to be doing X amount of damage. So I think the idea will be, if you pick up a dice and you hover over anywhere in here, it will show you how much damage that will be doing. We could say something along the lines of like, you know, so if you're hovering over with a 2, it would say you're going to be doing 2 damage to the monster, but like visually, right? And so I guess we could do something where it's like if you have a 1 and you're hovering over, it just wouldn't show anything. And maybe that would be enough to kind of indicate to the player like, hey, don't do that. But it's like also at the same time, you know, if you've got a 1 and it's saying, hey, this is going to be doing 1 damage minus 25%, like, well, yeah, that's, yeah, no. Minus 0, you can just show 0. I mean, that is true, that is true. I agree with Zuda. Yeah, and that's the thing too, though, is it's like, well, so these runes serve 2 purposes, right? What is negative 0? I mean, I think it would be like minus 0 kind of a thing, right? So it's like, yeah, so these runes are going to serve 2 purposes. Minus the verb, not the title. Oh, I see. Yeah. So it'd be like minus 0, not negative 0. But Anyway, so the general idea is the general idea for these runes is you want to hold on to these runes because there is a spell book in the game. This will be an example of what it looks like in the full game. In the demo, there will not be this town, but in the full game, there will be this town where you'll be able to go to the Mage's Guild, and you'll be able to open up the spell book, and in this spell book, you'll be able to upgrade your pyro spell. So like right now, my pyro spell does 1 damage, right? And if I were to take another 1 pyro rune and then put it in here, it would merge it, and then it would become a 2, and now I'm doing 2 pyro damage. And if I put in another 2, that would do a 3, and if I were to put in another 3, that would do 4, so on and so forth. So that's kind of like the idea behind these runes, is you're using them to upgrade your spell book in general, right? So, you're mostly wanting to use these for that. So I would worry about if you were to, let me see, tavern here, let's go to the tomb. So I'd kind of worry if you had a perk card that was adding a negative effect to the dice. I wouldn't want it to just show on this number all the time what it would be doing when you pick it up. But I would also worry about having to show how much it could be doing, because that means I would have to create X amount of dice to show, like, I would have to potentially literally double the amount of dice images I'm using. Because, I mean, I don't think you could ever get to this point, but if you ever got to the point where you could double the amount of damage that these runes were doing, if you had a D20 rune that was doing 100% extra damage, you would then have a rune doing 40 damage, which means I would have to create images, because RPG Maker's not great at allowing you to show text on an image. You can in RPG Maker MZ, but not in MV. So I have to manually create an image file for every single individual dice with the different numbers. So I would have to go in and say, okay, now I want to create a D21, 22, 23, 24, 25 for all 4 elements, which is not exactly ideal. And that is if you're only going up to 100% boosted. If you could somehow get past that, then I have to create even more. And that creates all sorts of crazy issues. So I don't think I actually want to show on the dice what it's doing. So the other thing we could do is, if you have a number 1 dice, or rune, I just start calling them runes more than dice. If you have a rune that does 1 damage, and if you have any kind of minus or negative, any debuff taking, like removing from that, we could say instead of it actually consuming, it would just put it back in your inventory. If I were to be here in combat, and if I was doing negative 10% damage with Hydro Dice, if I were to release on here, it would just put it back. Would that be more or less confusing? I decided if that would be better for the player. They'd be like, wait, why did my dice come back? But at least they didn't lose it. So, maybe. Are you considering making some enemies resistant to types of damage or even heal from them? So there are enemies that are resistant to elemental types already. I haven't done that yet with the dice because we're just now implementing this tonight. So these runes up here, I haven't actually taken that into account, but the cards do take that into account. So, and there are different elemental monsters that can spawn. So on the first floor, the chances of a elemental monster are very low for spawning. But as you get deeper and deeper, say for example, this stone golem on floor 2 may have a higher chance of becoming a pyro stone golem, or a geo stone golem, or a hydro stone golem, so on and so forth. Which, just because I'm lazy and not exactly the best of pixel artists, I have only changed the color palette of the monster as it, shows on the screen. Some of them worked out better than others. Some of them I'm gonna have to go in and recolor. But anyway, that is neither here nor there. I just didn't want to go through all the trouble of like kind of redesigning each monster with all new elemental states. There might come a day where maybe I'll like pay an actual pixel artist to basically take what I have and be like, hey, make this like an actual pyro stone golem. Like make it actually look like not just like a color shift, like an actual, like make it look like it's on fire or something. So anyway, that is neither here nor there. The answer to the question is yes, there will be different elemental monsters. Yes, I have taken that into account with the cards. I haven't yet with the dice, but I think we should. I definitely think we should. Which actually also then brings up another great point, is that if you are, say, for example, the pyro does, I think I have it set to be 50% extra damage, or maybe it's like 20% damage. I don't think it's a ton, but it's a bit of extra damage. So if I were fighting a Geo Golem, so he would be a green golem. If I attacked with a pyro card, again, I don't think it's doing double, but I think it's maybe doing like 25 to 50% more damage to him. Which, if we take that into account, if you would then apply that to the runes, if you were to take a pyro rune and try and attack the Geo Golem with a pyro rune, and if you had something that was increasing that attack by 100%, that means you would then be doing like 150% damage to him. Huh. That would be kind of crazy. That would be kind of crazy. Anyway, yeah, so definitely something to kind of consider there. I do need to add the elemental considerations, right? I don't think it would ever be to the point where you would heal them on accident. There are ways that you could potentially heal the monsters, and that is with these sandwiches right here. So these will be like random sandwiches you'll be able to like find throughout the tomb. Like this one, it could reduce the monster's attack by 50%, or it could increase it by 50%. Then there is another sandwich that will either cut the monster's health in half, or it will heal them 50%. So, yeah. Anyway, so I don't think I'm gonna ever actually have the runes heal based off of the but they will do less damage. So if I was doing a pyro rune against a hydro monster, hydro is strong against pyro, and so it would be doing half damage. But then if you were doing a pyro rune against a geo monster, it would do like 50% damage, like 50% extra damage. So it would do 150%. It would do 150% damage versus just doing 50%. Yeah. You could have a number on the bottom right or bottom left of the die that shows how much the die would do, and make that image hide and only appear when you pick it up if you want. Also, that can be its own sprite, just a number with a transparent background that you can easily use for anywhere. That is true. That is true. I could do that instead, which would be probably a much better way to go. The only reason why I did it this way, where every single, like, it's not good. I'm gonna show it anyway, but it's not good. So here are my here's all the images in the game right now. We currently have 878 images in the game. Basically, here are all the dice right here. Now, here's the thing. I know that I could very easily have just made one red dice, one green dice, one blue dice, one purple dice, and then had a bunch of the numbers that were all transparent that you would then show above the actual dice image layer. The reason why I didn't is because in the beginning, RPG Maker MV is limited to 100 images on the screen at once. You can never have more than that. And I'm using a lot of image layers. So like say, for example, if I enter combat right here, oh my god, if I enter combat right here, there are potentially tons of images on the screen. So each one of these dice are its own individual image. Every single card that could be drawn is its own image. So that's a total of 22 image layers that I have to keep free. Each one of these individual rooms on the map is its own image layer, because it's, randomly generating the map. And so each one of these is its own image layer. The monster is its own image layer. The room, the doors are their own image layers. So I very quickly get up to like 80, 90 pictures on the screen at once. And so I kind of didn't have a whole lot of leeway for like showing more than one image at a time when it came to the dice. And so I was like, okay, those are all just going to be single image. Yes, it's not going to be super space efficient, but like, whatever. They're super tiny PNGs anyway that really don't add up to much. Like, if I were to select all of these dice, that is 267 kilobytes. So, pretty small. Every single image in the game is only a little over 3.5 meg. So, really not a ton that's going on here. Which is why I'm not too worried about it, because it's very simplistic graphics. So I'm like, if there's a whole bunch of duplicates, whatever. Like, managing it's probably the most frustrating. Anyway, but we absolutely could do that. We could have like a separate. Oh yeah, that's why. So that's how it was when I first started. But luckily, some Randev is absolutely fantastic. And I was explaining my grievance, and I was like, I wish that I could show more than 100 images on the screen at once. And so some Randev wrote an absolutely fantastic plugin called, where is it? Let's see, HUD Maker, Multiline, High AF Pictures, Surd Magic? Is that the one, Surd Magic? I think it's Surd Magic. Come over here to JavaScript, plugins. We go to Surd Magic. There it is, Surd Magic. Just for these two lines
of code, you are able to make it so you can show 200 images on the screen at once, or 300 images on the screen at once, or 400 images on the screen at once. Absolutely crazy. There's a reason why it's called Surd Magic.
Because it is very magical. Very, very magical indeed. So now that I have that plugin to allow me to be able to show more pictures on the screen, it does make things better. So I could absolutely do it. I absolutely could. We'll see. We'll see. I kind of like the idea of just like having the dice just go back to its inventory if it doesn't work, instead of consuming it. Because I feel like there will be some people out there that, like, myself included, honestly, like if I have a perk card that I got on like floor 1 that, you know, maybe it does something crazy good, but then it's decreasing the, you know, hydro dice damage by 25% or something like that. And if I don't look at it very often, there's a good chance by the time I get to floor 5, 6, 7, and then I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna do just a little bit of quick damage to this guy, and then I'll be like, why did it do 0? That's a bug. Why did it do 0? And so, kind of like, we'll just have it return if it just can't do any damage. Kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah, I think that would be idiot proofing, and that's a good thing. Agreed, idiot proofing is good. You can add some animation or a proper animation to make the dice bounce off the enemy to make it less confusing. I see, image crap is a huge problem. It really is. It really is. And like, I have like some stuff. I mean, like, kind of just kind of like snaps back. So this is what it would essentially look like. So imagine if I was holding it here and if it had a negative booster. If I were to then let go, it would just like snap back into place. That's basically what it would do if I were trying to like, hey, you know, have it be over this guy. It would just go snap back into place. So I think I might just do that. Just curious, can you change the tint or something of an image in RMMV? Like I would try to make just one white set that I tinted. Dang, dude, you made all those. I did make all those. It's a lot. It is a lot. Yes, you can. So you can tint pictures. The problem is, so this is like my own personal thing. It's probably stupid that I'm this way that I am. My problem is I want to stick very closely to the color palette that I've created. I'm trying to be as strict to my own self-set rules as possible, which those rules are, you know, keeping everything pixel perfect, you know, sticking to like the very strict color palette, trying to avoid any amount of like transparencies, anything like that. I am trying to avoid stuff like that. And so my problem is that if I do just say, hey, let's just set it all to white, and then I'll adjust the tint of the picture later, I don't know how I would color match to my color palette if I were to do that. So that's the only reason why I haven't done it, is because I'm like, I don't know what I would do here. The other issue is that if I were to do something like that, where it's like every single dice were just a white image, and then I just color adjusted, The problem there is every single time you go to pick up the dice, so it's showing the images as their own separate layers. So you got image layer 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, so on and so forth. And so when I go to pick up the dice, this is what it does. So it adjusts some variables here, and then it swaps pictures 7 to image layer 199. And then basically, so it's like swapping all of the image properties from image layer 7 and applying them to image layer 199. So it's basically just replacing that image with that image. But then when you go to set down an image, it then has to move that picture into place and then has to re-show the image, which I know I could probably just do swap again. Maybe that would work just well. But when I show the image, I would then have to re-tint the picture to get it looking right again. So I could probably work around it. I would just have to like redo some of the set down not animation, like the set down mechanics. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so that's why I haven't done it, is just I'm like trying to stay true to the color palette. It's probably not exactly necessary, but I don't know. I'm weird. Luckily, some randev, a story of your life, Moon Man. That is true. That is true. I feel like with most things, it usually ends with, but luckily, some randev was here to save the day. I mean, an actual bounce animation, since it's snapping back when you try to use it. If it's not, no, if you don't know any better, in my opinion, would interpret it as bug. Oh, gotcha. Well, yeah, I could do some kind of a bounce animation as well. I'd have to see. So yeah, so probably what we would do is we would have the dice actually move to the monster. That's what's happening here. So this one's actually moving to the monster itself. And then we would probably just say, before it actually tints the picture like it's, doing damage, and before it does the actual damage, we would then just add a check here and just say, hey, if this dice is going to do 0 damage, then just jump back. Yeah. I think at that point, we could just say additional branch. If the dice picked up is equal to 1, and if 679 equal to is less than 0. All that in there. Select all, copy, and then we're going to say, or you're equal to 2, and if 680 equals 0, or you're equal to 3, 681, or if you are equal to 4, 682 is less than 0. Basically just saying, if the dice you've picked up is equal to either Pyro, Geo, Hydro, or Necro, and if it's Pyro, and if Pyro modifier is less than 0, so on and so forth. Any of those things, then we'll just say, then we want to just have it find the next space. Just say, now there's a spot here, find empty slot. I think we can just apply that here. Yeah? Find empty slot. Let's see what happens. We just say 670 whatever. Let's just say the necro damage is going to be negative. I mean, really, it could just be -1. I don't think I'll ever do like 1%, but still. If you're equal to -1, you should be doing 0 damage. I should be able to say you. Oh, wait. I think I know the problem. I think I know the problem. You. Maybe not. I'm gonna do flash the screen in here just to make sure I'm getting into the actual condition itself. I want to see. I just want to see. Let's see you over on YouTube. Let's see. Quinlan, welcome. Glad to see you here. Says, yeah, those caps can be a deal breaker for RPG Maker projects. True. It's true. It doesn't help that RPG Maker can only place things on a grid, even though it supports arbitrary sprite sizes. Yeah, 100%. And that Jerry Camacho says, are you sure it's less than 0 and not less than or equal to? So if we are not adding anything, if we're not adding or taking away to it, it should still just do 1 damage. So it should be good. So it should just be if it is less than 0. Yeah, so I should be able to say you. Unexpected end of input. Okay. I have done something wrong in here. What have I done wrong? We got inside parentheses. We got 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Oh, that's my bad. I left 1 too many parentheses in each one of these. You don't need your own parenthesis. You are your own thing. Okay, that would do it. That would do it. So yeah, so I wasn't actually getting into the conditional branch, which does answer that question. Wait, crap. Ah, crap. You need to be within there. Okay. Let's actually get rid of you. Awesome. Okay, so if I don't adjust anything, I should be able to do 1 damage to this guy. It does. Now, if I say that my hydro damage is going to do -1, it should bounce back. Yeah. But it's kind of a... Kinda. Does that feel okay? Not exactly like a bounce animation. But like, I think it should be fine, yeah? Like it goes over, hits him, and then just like bounces back. But then it should work here. Ooh. Yeah, why isn't that working? Because it should be doing damage still. Oh, I need another condition here. We're literally just saying if you are holding a pyro dice and this is... Okay, alright. So we just say if you're holding a pyro dice and if game variables dot value, if 18, which is the amount you're holding, is equal to 1, and there we go. Okay. Yes. So copy that. So if the dice, if you're holding a pyro dice that is equal to 1 and it's subtracting from that, or if you're holding a geo dice that is equal to 1, quick, nope, you're holding a geo dice that is equal to 1 and it's subtracting from that, or if you are holding a hydro dice that is equal to 1 and subtracting from it, or if you are holding a necro dice that is equal to 1 and it's subtracting, then don't let it happen. Jeez. Woo. Okay, all right, let's give that a really quick shot. We come over here and we're just gonna say 670 something, 680 something, 682. Let's just say the hydro runes are gonna be at -10%. Come over here. Now for hydro, I should be able to do a 2. Unexpected token. All right, what do we get? Variable, so yes, you're equal to that, and 18 is equal to 1, and that. Or the 2, and you're equal to the 1, and that. Oh! That's a bit of a problem. Means this last one is probably doing the same thing. Yep. Did not even realize that I added a double and at the end of those. Good time. Good time. Okay. Now, everybody knows that programming is just trial and error, right? You try your best, but you don't succeed. That's how programming is. If I try and do a 2 on a Necro, it should do 1 damage. It does. If I try and do a 1 with negative 10%, it should just bounce off and go back to the inventory. It does. Ah, it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It even goes back to the spot that you picked it up from. If you were to like throw this guy up here and be like, here you go. It's like, nope. And you'd be like, okay, we'll throw it down here and go like this. Nope. Ah, it's beautiful. Beautiful. The most important part is that the dies not doing damage feels intentional. Exactly, yeah. And I'll probably mess with the animation just a little bit here and there. But I think we're at least on a good track, right? Like, I'll definitely mess with the animation a little bit later. But I think, yeah, at this point, it does feel intentional. It's not just like, it doesn't feel like it's a mistake, right? If I were to change and have this be right here, I feel like that would feel that would feel like a bug. Then at that point, if I just say, hey, I'm going to set you, let's do you to be negative 10, then that's what it does. I feel like at that point, it's just kind of like, wait, why isn't it doing anything? It's happening. This one works. This one doesn't. It's happening. So, then if we just come over here, change the order, go back on there. Whoops. I don't know what you guys just saw, but I accidentally hit print screen. So it, my screen went a little bit transparent there for a second. Then if we do this, then it's fine. Then it's like, I may raise where the animation goes to. Like I might not have it go quite as low. Might have it raise up a little bit, but works well enough. Yeah, get him. Kill him! Take out this freaking guy. Yo, happy days. Happy days. Let's see here. Sign the petition to replace all greater/less than symbols with Pac-Man, with his mouth going toward the higher score. I think that's a good idea. Needs a note, 0 damage dealt or cannot deal 0 damage. Ooh, that is a really great point. That is it. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Usually I'm okay at remembering to add notes, especially nowadays, but every now and then I miss it. Don't return dice to inventory if can't deal damage. Should be good enough. Better feedback, I think, would be, wait, can this version of RPG Maker do masking effects with battle animations? Yes. Yes. Pretty sure. I do not use any of the built-in animations, though. And everything you see on the screen, as well, is a picture. And I don't know if you can show animations... Actually, I'm pretty sure you can show animations over a picture. But I have no X or Y values to go off of to show the animation. Like, I would have to show the animation specifically add like an X and Y value on the screen itself. Because, like, this isn't an event or anything. I can't really say, like, show animation on event X. But yeah, you definitely can do... Oh, wait, masking effects. I don't know if you can do masking effects, actually. I don't know if you can. Print screen just takes a snapshot of your screen. Now, if you open Photoshop, you hit Control V, it will paste an image of your screen. I mean, well, okay. I know. Sorry, I know what print screen does. I just wasn't sure what it looked like on stream. I wasn't sure if like this screen went like dark gray for a little bit as it was trying to print the screen or what. But yes, I do know what print screen means. I just mean that like if I press it, my screen like freezes and it like goes gray. So I don't know if you're still seeing, I'm assuming you're still seeing me moving, but I don't know if there was like something animating on the screen. I don't know what you would see. Yeah, I just don't know. We'll see what happens. Like if I do it in here where the torches are going, I don't know if that just like pauses the torches or if it shows the torches but like made the screen go darker. I don't know. Oh, those are pictures. Then in that case, you could have the image flash white or gray and make a ping sound instantly recognizable as an attack bouncing off or something. That's true, and we could do that as well. Just kind of like have it either like flash the dice or flash the monster. Yeah, we could do. Honestly, we could do any one of those things. Like we could do animations, sound effects, which are it's honestly like one of those things that like. Once we get to that point where I am like kind of finalizing and like getting that kind of stuff done, like making it feel and look good, that's where I would kind of like start actually getting into that, where I'd be like, okay, like where are we going to take this in terms of like the final animation kind of thing. So, but I think this is enough to make it so that like if you try to do this, it's not going to be like the player's not going to be upset, I feel like, because it's just bouncing off of the monster. Instead of actually losing the dice, it's just like, oh, whoops, I tried to do damage, but it doesn't do damage. The other thing that I could maybe potentially look into doing is I might be able to, and this is where it's like, it might get a little bit confusing, and this is where like I'd have to see if it's possible for me to do like based on how I've built it. Something I kind of want to do is if something is happening in the game that is triggered because of one of these perks, I kind of want to try and like flash the icon or something. Flash it, make it expand a little bit, just kind of like pop. I don't know, something to like call attention to it so the player can be like, oh, that's what made that thing happen. So, yeah, we'll see. But I think for now, I'm pretty sure we are in a spot where like, yeah, you can just drag these guys over here. Oh, that's right. We still do need to take into consideration strengths and weaknesses. So, come over here and I need to go to here. Okay, this is all working except for against elemental strengths. Oh my gosh. And weaknesses. I'm so tired. Weaknesses. This is all working except for against elemental strengths and weaknesses. There we go. Okay. I'll see if I have time to add that before the next stream. If not, then we'll just kind of wrap that up with the elemental stuff. And then, Jerry, your perk card's going to be coming along because it will literally just feed into this system. And we'll just say, hey, add to this one and then remove to this one. It'll be a good time. It'll be an absolute blast of a time. Yeah. Pro tip, Alt plus print screen captures only the windows. That one is good to know. I knew there were like a couple of hotkeys with it, but that was always a good one to know. Time to go to work. Brendan, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Actually, I'm going to be stopping stream right here, so you are not going to miss anything. So I hope that everyone has an absolutely fantastic rest of your days. Yeah, thank you all for hanging out, for chatting. It's been a blast getting through everything that we got through tonight. I am now inverted. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Anyway, I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic rest of your evenings, days, mornings, wherever it may be in this world. I will see you all on the Tuesday streams. I'll see you all in 2 days. Good luck, take care, and until then, yeah, good luck with life. Goodbye.